Here we go.
In 5, 4, 3.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
We need to build a wall.
Dwarfs their mines. Men their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering day.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
No.
Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
Everyone! I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead.
We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
To him finally being lionized as in the prime and his prime. Fuck.
Do it!
Shit.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams change. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Luke went from being... Oh, no. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I have some great news for you today. I hope you're all doing great. Nope, that didn't work. One more.
You have failed me for the last time.
Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope...
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
That is eating away at what you love in order for it to shine. And one man's vision is... Sometimes you don't have to make things better for them to be great again. You merely have to Okay. Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up and he's fighting motherfucker.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
And unbearded dwarves, but Prime didn't stop there. They stapled in intersectionality, individuality, biddiga-dig-bee, biddiga-dig-boo.
So it begins.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, George the Giant Slayer.
What's going on, everybody? We're back with Slayer Nation Live. It is Sunday, October 5th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. How are you all doing? It has been a week to remember. One for the history books. You know, ever since Charlie Kirk was taken from us, the culture war went from cold to hot. Well, this week, it seems that Hollywood and corporations, has-been celebrities and wannabes all came out fighting on several fronts. We had Elon Musk call for the cancellation of Netflix, which is like, amen, it's about time. Because they were pushing propaganda to trans our kids. Then you had Amazon try to erase our icons by turning James Bond into 00 woke. But you also had the NFL mock our traditions, mock America, mock its own fan base with a giant middle finger called Bad Bunny. But it didn't stop there. You also had one of the penultimate episodes of Peacemaker Season 2. You had James Gunn attack his fans, attack conservatives, attack Christians, attack pretty much America itself, even though a couple of weeks ago he said he wouldn't do it. He's replacing ideology and pushing it as entertainment. And as a consequence, we have people like Christine Hawkins, who was one of Charlie Kirk's closest friends, who works with Students for Life. She's been going around college campuses to talk with people. And then she gets confronted with the consequences of Hollywood culture and Fortune 500 corporations still fighting the left's war. We're going to talk about that. Everywhere you look today, it's lies, propaganda, ideology posing as entertainment. We have drag shows on the 50-yard line. It's time to fight. Because decisions are made by those who show up to the fight. They don't bend, they don't break, they don't stop, they just charge, always forward. And it's never been more important than that. But we're also going to talk with Warren Smith, who's our very special guest today, and it'll be his fourth time with us. It's like, what are we learning from this? It's like we don't just comment on the noise. It's like, what's it telling us? What's going on underneath it? We're going to find out. We have a great panel lined up for you. Plus, there's something else that's really made my stomach churn, and I want to talk about it. All these people who are turning around every day, every hour with Charlie Kirk conspiracy videos. How do you tell the difference between those who are actually investigating it and believe it, or those who are just grifting, using a martyr's corpse for clickbait and cash? I think these are important distinctions and things we need to discuss. Plus, J.K. Rowling's mic drop against Emma Watson, exposing another war on the cultural front. It's hypocrisy. And how you can't hate someone for years and call them out, then turn around and go, but I still love you. Anyway, this is Slayer Nation Live, where the truth ends the circus act. All right, everybody. It is great to be here. I see we got Narrow Boat Nigel. It's the Phobos. One of our great new moderators is here. Also, Eric K., King of the Mods. We also have Lord Thoth. Ryan Lopez, how you doing, my friend? Andrew Wordna. Aaron Charman, always great to see you. Who else is here? We got Fletcher in the background. He's producing. We got Talitha. Good to see you. Good to see you. Andrew. And people are still coming in. Jill Powers, always a pleasure. And it looks like right off the bat, we got people sending in, Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle, $5, sends in a nice super sticker. You just hit 2K? Well, that's a beautiful thing to see, Narrowboat. Love it, Nigel. And Tender Warrior, he gifted 5 Georgia Giant Slayer memberships. That's the way to start it. I like it.
Flawless victory.
Like that. It's the way we kick it off. So everybody, please go thank Tender Warrior. It's a beautiful way to begin. All right, let's bring him out here. We got Epic Mike is joining us, My Nerdy Home, and the DA will be here soon. Also waiting for Warren Smith. Hopefully he'll be here in a minute. How's everybody doing? I was about to say, how you guys? And then I was like, well, Nerdy Home is there. Beautiful girl. Can't call her a guy.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm not one of those on the left. Good. It's been a crazy week. It has been an insane week of hypocrisy. And I think the best way to kick it off is to show how like everything comes together. I found this video recently of the superintendent of instruction for Washington State. This is the superintendent. Stick together and you're going to see how this all links together. This is the superintendent of instruction for people's children.
This is how we do it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Going to work. Yeah.
So I saw that video. I've seen that video before with no context. I didn't know exactly what the context was. It just like a guy walking down the street. And you go, you know what, man? Whatever. Just go walk in your heels and do your thing. Whatever. Just whatever. Just stay out of my way. But when you're working around kids, there has to be a level of professionalism and awareness that says, hey, you know what? Whatever my personal life is, whatever I have going on in my personal life, that is not more important than making sure that the children around me are comfortable in a safe environment where they're learning from objective educators who are just trying to give them the best education possible for them to succeed in the world. Obviously, we know that that hasn't been the case in schools for a long time. But the fact is, like, when I was growing up, you know, and that wasn't that long ago, but when I was growing up, I didn't know anything about my teachers' personal lives.
Of course not.
Most of the time, you didn't know if they were married. Like, there was in middle school, there were 2 teachers that were married, that worked at the same school, and we didn't know they were married for years because they didn't talk about it. You know, I mean, you just don't. They didn't talk about their personal lives, and to ask about their personal lives was actually considered really rude and disrespectful to the authority. And nowadays you have teachers who cannot wait to talk about all of their personal business. It's like they're doing counseling sessions with these kids, having these kids like validate their lives and all this stuff.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's it right there. They seek validation, even if it's from a preschooler. That's pretty much what the current, I guess, batch of teachers want right now. They just want validation. It's because you put feelings above everything else. So they want to they're seeking validation even from their classmates. Like, they want people to know, like, this is my life, this is how I live my life, and I want to make sure that that you like validate me. And to think that that goes above educating your students, and I just can't comprehend that. Like Mike, I had no idea what my teachers did outside of school. I never even ran into my teachers outside of school. I didn't know if anybody was married. I went to a Catholic school, so like some of them were nuns, and that was the extent that I knew. Like the nun teachers that I had, I knew like that they lived in like by the church. That was it. Right. All the normal teachers with like normal lives, I had no clue what they did outside of school. None.
Did you ever get the ruler on the hand?
No, they took that away.
I did.
No, I never got hit like that.
We got paddles.
We did have like the paddles like that were still there.
Paddles.
They were still there. They just never used them. But yeah, outside of school, like I had no idea if any of my teachers were married, and it didn't even cross my mind to even ask them about their personal life. But like this superintendent man walking in these 9-inch stiletto stripper heels, that's just fetishism, like out in the open. Yes. And the normalization of that within our society has just got to stop. Put it back in the closet, put it back in your own home, and leave it there. You don't need to bring it out in the world and have people celebrate it because, oh, this is you, this is who you are. No, that is fetishism. That you want two people. That is a fetish right there. Going to work, and you want people to like clap for you. No, that belongs in your home. Leave it there. If you're going to work, that's meant to be a professional environment where you put, the student's education above anything else, everything else. Don't bring your fetish to work.
Yeah, but how pathetic is it that they need validation from children?
Oh, it's awful. I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like Steph's saying, here's the thing, even if that was a woman, right, coming to school in 9-inch stiletto stripper heels was not appropriate. Even if you were a female teacher, it wouldn't have been okay. They dress modestly. We even had teachers. Listen, we all grew up with teachers that were like a very attractive, hot for teacher was a thing. We all know.
Oh
it.
yeah, I had one second grade, Mrs. Bolt.
Yeah, we were like, oh my gosh, this woman is gorgeous.
I
And
love
even
her.
even them, they dressed at least professionally. They didn't dress with their cleavage out and stuff like that. I mean, like there was just a level of understanding that, you know what, we're here to do a job. And nowadays people are so wrapped up in their own personal lives that they can't distinguish work and professionalism from being oppressed or controlled. And it's like, that's not what it is. It's that you're here to do a job, not here to have your personal life validated. You need to go outside of your work to find that. That's what everybody else has done since the beginning of time, is to go find somewhere else to find that validation. And if you can't find that, then that's a you problem, and you can't make it everyone else's problem. But
Absolutely.
as we've seen, without getting too deep into it, but as we've seen, they've gotten into legislation now, pass these laws to make me feel protected so that I can talk about my things. We see them, what used to be a day parade where they celebrated who they were having sex with and stuff. Now they're walking around the streets naked around children. They're performing lewd, disgusting acts in front of children and minors in the public streets. And I was like, where did all of this come from? Except that people
not getting arrested for it.
And not getting arrested for it. Exactly. And it's like, as soon as that happens, as soon as you can't keep your personal life separate from everybody else around you, we have found ourselves in a really bad place as a society. So.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, when I like I said, Mrs. Bolt was my second grade teacher, and I would take I found my mother's stash of like Christmas gifts that she would buy for everybody, at sales during the year, and she'd hide them. And a couple of times I would take him like, Mrs. Bolt, I love you, second grade. And I'd like get this wrapped gift. And it was like after the first one, it's like, or no, it was the second one. She called my mom. She's like, your son has a crush on me, but I don't know if he, second grade, where's he going to buy this? She's like, yep, he took it from me. But she's like, it's okay. But yeah, she didn't say, she was like, that's cute. Thank you very much. You can't do this. This is a line. But I appreciate it. It was a little cross or something. But
I think it is sad that, teachers are seeking validation from their students, especially like the preschool and the kindergarten students, elementary school kids. But what's even sadder is, like, you guys know, I spend a lot of time on TikTok looking up the reactions of people to different things. What's even sadder is that some of these teachers will go into their cars and cry to the internet that they were bullied by their class for their lifestyle choices. And I'm just like, why does your class even know about your lifestyle choices? Why does your class know about this? They should, it doesn't matter. You're there to teach them, not talk about your personal life. So, that reaction from these children is a reaction from a child. They don't understand yet, the workings of an adult, so that's just a reaction from kids. You crying about it speaks more to your level of emotional stability than anything else.
Yes.
But where does it come from? See, we have to complete the circle. That was the Washington State Superintendent of Instruction. Here is District 43, the senator for Seattle.
Uh-oh.
Now, buckle up, steel your stomach, because it's going to turn it.
If they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies, okay? And parents do not have the right to change that.
He's talking about 8-year-olds.
Oh.
This is a good point to bring DA in. DA.
What up?
You have the senator for District 43 in Seattle says that your 8-year-old, if they can have sex, you have no parental rights to tell them what to do with their body.
Wow.
Wait a second. He said if they can have sex?
If they can have sex.
8-year-old.
Well, he said if they can get pregnant, but that's
which means
very young. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, that is incredibly rare in an 8-year-old to get pregnant. That's very rare, because for a child to go through puberty at 8, it's very rare for that to happen.
But think of the mentality behind that, because the whole debate and they only have clips of it. I'm going to pull another one in a little bit. He's talking about how a child starting at 8, if they say that they're trans, if they're the opposite sex, they have that right, because if they have the ability to have sex at that age and they can get pregnant at that age, then a parent has no right to dictate to them what to do with their body.
But you're talking about a biological function of getting pregnant. That's something that biology determines. That has nothing to do with your brain capacity and your ability to make decisions,
right,
you know, for your life. Right? Like that's stupid. Is that guy's a senator? You said that guy's a senator?
District 43 of Seattle.
Who voted for that anyway?
That's the point.
You know what's insane is, like, I will see arguments for, like, and this is just something that's thrown out there, but it's an argument that gets thrown out there a lot. Like, let's say Leonardo DiCaprio gets a new girlfriend, right? And she's under the age, she's like 19, 20 or whatever. I will hear arguments of her frontal lobe isn't even fully developed. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yes.
Right. Yet 8-year-olds can make decisions about transing themselves.
Right.
A full-grown adult cannot do this. A full-grown adult cannot engage in a relationship with a celebrity or whatever. They can't make decisions. Full-grown adults can't make decisions because their frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet. But yet they make the argument that an 8-year-old can trans themselves, have the capacity to tell you, like, oh, I'm this and now I want to start these types of things. No, absolutely not. And to take parental control away from the parents.
They're doing it. Well, it's in Colorado. They have a law that if you misgender your child, they will take your child away, and you can be possibly locked up for it. Misgendering your child at any age, age.
They're more critical of what adults do in the privacy of their own home than they are allowing children to do, you know, life-changing, life-altering things. And we've been seeing this for a while now, like the last 10, 12 years or so. I definitely think related to who has been power politically, that the state has been inserting itself more and more into the lives of parents. Mm-hmm. And we've seen senators and congressmen all saying, your child doesn't belong to you. Your child belongs to the state. Mm-hmm. You're just, you know, taking care of that child. But if the state decides you can't be in control anymore, then the state can do that. We've also, once again, going back to teachers, we've seen teachers being like, these kids are like my family. They're like my children. They're almost mine. And then, you know, going to these kids and finding, you know, grooming these children, talking to them behind the scenes about very personal, private things that should only be talked about with their parents, and then telling these kids, hide this from your parents because they may not accept you for this. Even if there's no evidence that that's the case, saying, hey, don't tell your parents about this. It's just between me and you. And you wonder why there's been a massive rise in teachers getting arrested for, you know, fooling around with students. And it's because of this kind of stuff. And you know, once again, you should never trust the government. And you definitely shouldn't trust the government with your children, but they desperately want that. So yeah, go ahead, Steph. Sorry.
In my mind, I know that a lot of people have called it a cult, right? Extreme leftism is a cult, and a lot of these activists go into the educational profession in order to get to the minds of young children, because the more malleable that their brain is, the more that they can indoctrinate them into their extreme leftist cult. These kids don't know any better. They know what the authority figure will tell them, and they will not question it, not one bit. So if they can get to them when they're young and continue on with this indoctrination all through college, then what you get are people that stand outside of an ICE building yelling at, you know,
officer
government employees, and, you know, putting activism above everything else. So, and this is what I will say, that this is extreme leftist, because I have seen a lot of Democratic people calling it out and saying, like, this is terrible. And this is extreme leftism, you know, activists who go into the profession who want to indoctrinate these kids. And I think it's terrible. I think it needs to be called out. And I think that these people need to be removed from their positions as authority figures and teachers.
It is. You also had the Seattle mayor who gave a speech recently. When he was talking, he was trying to address the fact why he hasn't arrested Antifa. Of course, he didn't address them that way. He was like, you know, they were like violent offenders. He's like, I don't know the life story of everyone there. I don't. What if they're hungry? I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with throwing rocks at federal officers? He's like, what if they have a reason? I don't go to lock up people who break the law. I try to understand them. I'm like, yeah, no.
What?
See, this is where we have to draw the line. Because what we're talking about, what's happening in education is being promoted by Hollywood, is then being pushed by major corporations. Just like Elon Musk this week called for what I think is a good start, but it's not finished, the boycott of Netflix. This was one of the things that ticked him off the most. And then, of course, there's other videos I'm going to show you. This is a little short.
It took a while, but we finally found a file for a Bailey Del Vecchio. Is 32 Burn Hill Road still the current address? Yeah. Have you been getting influence?
I know.
A non-blue hospital gown?
Yeah, it's a pink. But the thing is we need to make an AI version where you go, now this is what should happen, where the doctor's like, do you see the MD? That means I know the difference between biology and insanity, and put the girl in her place. But Hollywood has for a long time been promoting this thing that kids are smarter than their parents. It's the same thing actually that Stalin did and Mao did and the Khmer Rouge did. That's how you get kids to eventually one day pop a cap in the back of their parents' head because they're not faithful to the state.
No, they're faithful to their found families.
All right. And talking about that, real quick on a side note, this week, Xi Jinping, the dictator for life of the CCP, said there needs to be more rigorous enforcement of religion in China because people are not properly aligned with the state. That's their first duty. It's just something to remember that what we see that has gone on past is prologue. It's like in the UK, it happened actually October 1st was the first day. You had certain restaurants which have already adopted the law. A law was passed in 2022, but then it was forestalled till the 1st of October this year, where when it comes to sugary or high-fat content foods, like sugar, like free refills, bottomless cups, Nando's was the first one to implement this at a restaurant where you can only get one Coke. It is against the law. The restaurant will not serve you. They're like, you can have a bottomless sugar-free drink. And I was like, do you get it? You're being molded into slaves.
Yeah.
Literally. They're like, well, this
crazy.
is for the health and wellness of society, they said. Well, that's because you have a socialized medicine, which means you have limited resources, which therefore means you need to control people. But what's happening there is happening here. That's why I think it's a good point. Everything is interconnected. Everything. So Netflix has been reported to have lost anywhere from 15 billion to 23 billion. I don't know what the exact number is. I'm seeing estimates on different sides. Forbes says they've lost in 72 hours, I think 2.5% of their stock.
The problem is Netflix goes through this. We saw this with Cuties, right? Like everybody came out against Cuties and tried to cancel Netflix because of Cuties, and it lasted for a few months, and then it went right on back to the rate. Things always go. And then something happened with a Coco Melon. That happened. The little boy dancing in the tutu, and parents were outraged, and everybody put it online. I made a video about it. People talk about it, and then it just goes away. I think Elon saying something about it this time, it might stick a little bit longer because Elon is locked in and it seems like he's posting about it regularly. So that's a good thing. But I mean, it's Netflix. How long is Netflix gonna, be able to, deal with the loss of subscribers? How many subscribers do they need to lose before they say, all right, guys, we're gonna make a change? That's the question that I have. I don't know if Netflix is, impervious to this because they're just that damn big at this point. But it's starting to look like it because every couple of years it happens.
But it's an important point.
I talked about that this past week about Netflix, and Netflix is just a huge juggernaut of a company. There was that thing with Cuties. A lot of people were bringing up cartoons like Coco Melon, the one with the cow, the Transformers cartoon. All of that has already been brought to people's attention. I remember talking about it back in 2023. And people were, and that's actually when the Daily Wire launched their kids app, Bentkey. So to try and combat Netflix. So this has been a conversation for years and years and years with Netflix. Even though they're in these type of controversies and people cancel their Netflix subscriptions, they've been able to move on and actually thrive because there's really, no competition. They were the first ones, to do this type of streaming service, and people will not cancel Netflix. Even with the loss of subscribers, they will still gain more in order to combat that. So when I was talking about this past week, I don't know if this will actually have an effect on Netflix because they're such a huge company who actually show no signs of stopping with their agenda. I mean, you see them, it's practically become a meme right now because you have like the original version, the cartoon, and the Netflix version. It's a meme at this point with their agenda and progressivism that they like show no signs of stopping. And I think that like with Elon Musk taking notice, it could possibly bring more attention to it. I think like with in 2023 when they had like the cow with the they them pronouns, and then the Transformer cartoon, which actually, like, I think right now people are saying that it was a Netflix cartoon. It wasn't. It started as a Nickelodeon. Netflix bought it, so now like people are seeing it on Netflix. Netflix bought it. It started on Nickelodeon, which if you pay attention to Nickelodeon's programming for kids, they also have a whole lot of I guess like woke stuff in their programming for kids. So that actually came from Nickelodeon. Netflix just bought that, which is why people are noticing it now coming from Netflix. But yeah, now that Elon Musk has noticed it and has sort of like brought more eyes to it, I think that could possibly have some sort of effect. But honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't really see any signs of like Netflix changing or anything like that, because I think that they are just a huge company. I think
it's going to require Elon, because he's admitted many times in the past that he works on 50 to 100 projects at a time, that he maintains some degree of focus on this, because he could keep it in the spotlight, but it goes deeper than that. Let's say you got to drop somehow Netflix's stock in half. Like Elon doesn't stop, because remember, this is personal. He views, after he disowned his child, that his child is dead to him. That's how he views it. He lost it to the woke mind virus, and he participated in it. And he says he regrets that. So it's personal to him. So let's say he continues this, right? Netflix drops 50%, 75%. That still is only solving half the problem. We have to crush one company. We started with Bud Light. The problem is 6 months later, this is a twofold problem. One, 6 months later, you had people, come on, be fair to Bud Light, all the employees. You can't. You need to take one scalp from a company, bring them to their knees, in my opinion.
Yep.
Put it up on the mantelpiece, goes, this is what happens. Then you have to fill the hole. We have to start taking back the cultural institutions. We can have victory after victory. It's meaningless unless we replace it. Like, where is the conservative or traditional? Where is the opposite of a leftist Netflix? You got Angel Studios, right? But you need more. You need conservatives or traditional Americans or moderates to support content, to support films, to support books, to support writers, artists that can combat the left. Because otherwise, these are just meaningless victories, Pyrrhic victories.
And I think that's what the Daily Wire's bent key for children's programming, that's what that was supposed to be. But I don't know whether or not it took off like it was supposed to. Because I think that now, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm not too sure. I think that they had to like shut it down or something.
They did for a while. I know they suspended production on a couple of things. I didn't know if it closed or not.
Well, and the issue here is that, and I've said this recently, most of the time, I mean, you do have some creative conservatives and that will and are capable of making good art. But a lot of times, typically, conservative people and even more moderates are more concerned about the bottom dollar. Well, how much is this making? Is it in the black? Are we staying in the black? The reality is the people on the left do not care about making money. Money is not the most important thing to them. And until somebody understands that you have to risk losing a significant amount of money, you have to risk that money, that there's no guarantee of a return on investment to invest in art and invest in the arts and things like that, that some of that, in fact, will lose you a lot of money. But that affecting culture is more important than making a profit. Because that's the thing. Netflix and some of these other companies are prepared to lose billions of dollars a year, knowing that if they wait it out long enough, eventually they'll hopefully turn a profit. Disney has been a huge proponent of this, and we've actually seen it because they've kind of openly admitted it. They're trying to turn Netflix, trying to turn Star Wars and all these things into a girl brand. They're trying to turn MCU into, a brand that appeals to as many people as possible, and they're indoctrinating children because the hope is if they indoctrinate these kids now, when they're adults, they'll just funnel money to them hand over fist and won't ever question anything, won't ever ask anything. But unfortunately, they've also seen that that's falling away and kids are actually losing interest, and you can't do that. But even to Steph's point about Nickelodeon, there was a huge documentary about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider and the fact that he was a complete creep. Well, one of the things that a lot of people didn't talk about in that interview, and this came out more, is that Nickelodeon admitted that their programming was actually designed to circumvent the nuclear family. That they purposely, intentionally created art and TV shows and television shows where they portrayed fathers as dumb, incompetent morons. They portrayed, mothers as nagging, overbearing Karens, and that children were actually smarter than their parents. And they said they did it on purpose because they wanted the kids to be loyal to the company over their parents.
Again, that's Khmer Rouge, but that's what I'm saying. We need to take a scout, but it's going to require some. I think.
But what's bigger than that, George? What's bigger than that? And this is something I said. Okay, go ahead.
One second, because I think this is important. I think the difference now today, where we're living in, is different than it was before. Not only for Netflix, for everything. Look, I think ever since it's been 26 days since Charlie Kirk was killed. I think that was, again, pardon the pun, a turning point. I think the culture war went from cold to hot, and it woke a lot of people up. Think about it this way. The reaction to Netflix right now is bigger than it was, I think, for cuties. I think. If one of y'all have a different take on that, let me know in a second. I think the reactions are being much bigger to people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. He changed the world. His passing, his assassination changed the world, okay? You went from a time where Hollywood was running it, special interest groups, the swamp, to for the first time, it's getting a chance to be in people's hands. The point is, does everybody have the fight in them? The long march, like that 1967 German activist, what was his name? I wrote it. Oh, Rudi Deutsch, who coined the long march through the institutions, like Henry Mercuse of the Frankfurt Institute. Do we have that internal fortitude to keep the fight going? Otherwise, you might as well just pack it up. Because if we can do that, we can win. What happened with Charlie Kirk, what happened with the Trump election, what's been happening are moments in time that give us momentum. And I don't mean it in a way like Charlie's death gave it, but he was taken. He was publicly executed, and that woke people up. Now you got to stay awake and keep fighting. Now go on, DA. Sorry.
No, I was in. Look, what you said was perfectly kind of segueing into what I'm saying. Because it's not just one company that you got to fight. It's not just Nickelodeon, it's not just Netflix, it's not just Disney. You're fighting all of these companies all at the same time. And if you knock one down, another one's going to spring up. So just an aside to this, but it still is relevant to this topic. If you're a parent, you have to watch what your children watch. You cannot allow your children just to sit in front of a television and have the remote and then go ham with it and do whatever it is that they want to do, watch whatever it is they want to watch. Okay. If you're going to do that, cancel everything that you got on your streaming services, cancel it all, cancel cable, cancel it all, because guess what? Your kids are going to eventually stumble upon something. All right. Yes. They're going to stumble upon something that you weren't aware of, like the, what was it? The show that they're talking about on Nickelodeon, or excuse me, on Netflix. That's a show that's been canceled for that show's been done and over with for like 2 or 3 years now. So the kids have already been indoctrinated. Okay. Whatever they wanted to get the kids to see, it's already been downloaded into their minds. Right. Now everybody's aware of it, but it's over. It's too little too late for those kids. So that's why as a parent, you got to be on top of things. You can't worry about, listen, I'm going to fight the fights on this front, but at home with my kids, I'm going to watch everything they're watching, especially at those impressionable ages of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got to really sit down and make sure that you know exactly what's being put in front of them. Because if not, they're going to watch it on their own. They're going to find a way to watch it, especially some of these crazy parents that give their kids a smartphone. You know, I've seen that happen too. They give them a smartphone, a tablet, and those kids are just all over the place. Next thing you know, they're like, wait, what are you looking at? How did you get to this site? How did you find this? That happens all the time. I see it with my niece, my nephew. Like I said, I was lucky enough to come up in an age where I was raising my kids when it was just Nickelodeon and Disney and Nick Jr. and stuff like that. But I still sat there and watched everything that my kids were watching, because I know that there's going to something eventually is going to pop up on the screen. And then I need to have a conversation with them about that and make sure that, you know, whatever Disney or whatever Nickelodeon or Netflix wants to implant in their brains, that's not going down in my house. All right. I don't disagree with fighting the fight, but like, parents got to own that responsibility. These are my kids. These are my children. I'm not about to let my children get indoctrinated by all of this bullshit. That's the concept that you got to have as a parent. And if we had more parents that had that mindset, I don't think Disney and Netflix and all these other folks would be able to make any traction at all. You know, because the parents are on top of their game. They're raising their kids. They're not letting the television raise them.
It starts at home. The fight starts at home. You just said it. Fight starts at home.
Like that's, you know, like my kid used to watch the Jurassic Park show that recently fell under controversy, and I watched it with him because I didn't know what was going on, and occasionally there'd be things and I'd be like, you know, buddy, like that's, you know, not really how we talk, and that's YouTube, you know, but for the most part it was just dinosaurs and stuff like that. But even then you watched, like, they waited until much later in the show to start introducing stuff because they hope parents will stop paying as much attention. You know, there was also a show back in the day. I talked about this the other day. There was a How to Train Your Dragon television show on Netflix that my kids used to watch all the time. And there was an episode with like a dragon that was like, just like it could talk, and it was like a big deal or whatever. They talked to this dragon, and at the very end of the episode, the dragon introduces its partner, who's another female dragon, and just, but you never, like, it was a blink and you miss it. But if that's the kind of subtle things that you put in front of children, because you're trying to validate your lifestyle, and you're trying to get these kids to go, well, it's totally normal to me because I see this all the time. And then, this kind of stuff on, you know, why is this in a Jurassic Park show?
Right. What does that do?
But they're kids.
Right. They're kids. That's the thing. But it's also happening to, again, I never watched it, but I heard my cousins talk about Strawberry Shortcake. I never saw that cartoon. It wasn't my thing. It was for girls. But now they have an updated Strawberry Shortcake. And again, immediately, where do they go? Where did it go? Hold on, because I have a...
I think you just passed it, actually.
I think you passed it.
Did I? Because I had another one. I had two. This is it, because I had one was straight.
Wouldn't you know it's love that makes your garden grow with lots of breeze.
So you got the original above and then the drag queen below, but it's a kid.
That's wild.
I mean, it doesn't get, so people who are like, I don't want to cancel it. Why? What is the purpose of that? What is it that we have to start? It's like nobody wants to pay for anything anymore. What I mean by that is they don't want to suffer in any way. It's like they want somebody else to fix everything without them being inconvenienced in any way. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's no, you can't make change without going through bumpy times. You just can't. That's it. I haven't missed when we get into football, right? I used to watch football. Not when like every Sunday. I just wasn't. But I enjoyed it. But after the whole kneeling and then the replacing the national anthem coming first, and then the jersey, just the one thing after the other, I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And I haven't missed it. A few weeks, I was like, yeah, okay. And then guess what? It becomes habit. You do something new. I talk to a friend of mine every couple of days, and he was the same way. He was hardcore into football. And he's here listening now, and he's like, you just got to cut it loose.
Yeah.
You just do. Think about it. If everybody just said no to Netflix right now, what tremors would go through Hollywood? Now, they wouldn't care because they hate Netflix. AMC still boycotting them. They won't allow their movies. But quietly, you know, those studio bosses would be shitting on themselves. Pardon my language. They would be. They'd be going, oh, my God, they brought Netflix down. That's a lesson. And we need a scalp. That's why I was really pissed off at Kid Rock last year, right before the election. Like, come on, everybody. I know I called for the boycott, but you got to give him a break. No, dude, you don't. We should have finished and put Bud Light out of business. You cannot let them weaponize your patience or your kindness. But,
you're absolutely right. Well, and I've told people this too. This is happening right now a lot. Is these studios and especially these streaming services are trying to hedge their bets a little bit. They're hoping that they can, because you also notice like Netflix went to bat for people like Dave Chappelle for having very controversial takes about, the trans community and stuff, so they went to bat for him and said, no, we're happy to let people on here, and Cat Williams and all these people, talk about things and share their opinions on things. And we're happy to let people offer their opinions on stuff, even if it's controversial, and we'll stand by that. We've also seen things like Amazon having shows like The Terminal List and Jack Reacher, where you go like, why would they have this on here? Except that they're trying to hedge their bets and hope you'll watch those shows, and those shows will become important enough to you that you'll stick around and keep watching those shows. You'll just try to ignore the other stuff going on, because they're just trying to be all things to all people. But the reality is, the ideology of these people on the left, these extreme left people, is that everything has to be their way or none of it is okay. They'll turn on everybody in a heartbeat, and they'll turn on themselves and each other all the time. And like you said, we have to stay vigilant and say, you know what? Nah, even if you do have a show that I like, even if I do want to know what's going on with this, it's not as important to me as saying, no, I don't want to support you because you're trying to do something damaging to my children. It's one thing to watch and go, I don't like this show, I'm not watching it. I'm an adult, I can make that choice. But as a kid, you see your favorite IP, dinosaurs. Oh, that's awesome, I want to watch this. And you got two teenage girls making out in it. Like, what are we doing? Yeah,
it gets worse. There was an article that was trying to fight back by celebrating what Netflix has, and I think it backfired on them. And I went through some of the shows. I was surprised. Again, it was like, how much crap is on it? So you got this show called Big Mouth. Never heard of it.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah. I say I haven't. It says in season 4 of the animated series, we're introduced to Natalie, an 8th grader who returns to camp after coming out as trans. Like, what is that? But it's marketed to 7 and under.
Yeah.
This one is TVMA.
It is TVMA, but they definitely know that kids are going to try to watch that show.
Kids are going to try to watch it for sure. Yeah.
Because when you watch it, the show's about girls getting their periods, and there's a bunch of growing up things in the show that would be for young kids and teenagers who are coming of age, but the show is marketed to adults who have already been through all of that. It's wild, man.
And what about this? Rocco's Modern Life?
Oh, I remember Rocco's Modern Life.
It's like cue the nostalgia with this 45-minute special from the beloved 90s Nickelodeon animated series. After being stuck in space for 2 decades, Rocco and his friends return to O-Town. Things obviously don't look the same as they did in the 90s, and modern technology sure is a lot for Rocco to get used to. Meanwhile, Rocco's toad neighbors Bev and Ed Bighead are in for a surprise of their own when their child Rachel comes out as trans.
Which makes no sense, because once I watched Rocco's Modern Life as a kid, that show was not really for kids. And to be honest, you could watch it as a kid and stuff, but there was a lot of, once again, there were adult things in those shows, but they were so subtle that the context of those shows, you had to be an adult to even understand what was happening. Because as I got older, I learned that Rocco used to work at phones as a phone sex operator. They never explicitly said it. It was just always something in the background. But once again, they can't hide anything. There's no subtlety here. It's all about, we have to push this agenda, and everybody has to know exactly how we feel about everything that we're doing. And we have to tell you exactly what's going on with these shows. So
it's nuts. I'm not even touching the regular shows. Of course, we know Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, what a mess.
Yeah. Queen is Born. Where's the other one? I was looking just for the ones for cartoons. This one, it said it's PG, and it was supposed to be for kids, but for adults, because it's about a documentary. Where is it? This documentary short, which was nominated for a Peabody Award in 2023, follows Australian trans right activist Georgie Stone. God, he's ruining my name. I don't know which one he is. She is. I can get confused by this shit. When she became an activist, is it a he, she, I don't know. Activist for trans youth, motivated by her own struggle to access hormone treatments. And then you go to Wendell and Wild again. Stop motion animated feature has no shortage of devilishly enjoyable characters, among them 2 demon brothers, voiced by Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key. Another memorable member of its ensemble is Raul, a trans student. It's like, Everybody is trans in these shows.
Well, and that's the thing too. I just read that little blip, and it was like, well, we don't really explicitly state anything about this character being trans, and like that's all we've always said. Hey, that's the thing is like, there are always gay characters on television and stuff. They didn't have to constantly shove it in our face until like the late 90s, early 2000s, when you had shows like Will and Grace and stuff that were blatantly like, by the way, this show is this, but they even told you before you got into the show, this is what this is. And so as an adult, you could choose. With kids, it's no, we got to push this. Even if they say they're not going to push it explicitly now, they will. They have to, because kids don't understand it.
I think part of this is it's like become a double-edged sword, right? I was raised in the live and let live philosophy. That's how I was raised. You do you, I do me. Don't harm anybody. What you do in your bedroom is your business.
Yes.
But I think that in some way, I don't have the answer, but I think in some way that has bitten us in the ass. I don't have the solution, but it's like we took it from the balanced place it was at, this medium.
Yes.
And it went fucking bananas.
Yes. Well, like I said, I lived with my grandmother when I was younger, and she talked about, like everybody knew Liberace was gay. It was very apparent. We all knew Elton John walking around in platform boots was not straight, but like it didn't matter because he didn't constantly talk about it. They didn't have to. What their job was to entertain people, and their job was to make good music. And as long as their music was good, or as long as your acting was good, nobody cared. But it's this new thing, and it's very recent, like within the last 20 years, that they have to validate everybody's existence, and you have to constantly address it and talk about it. And even, and these people were like, they went after like Seinfeld show for being controversial, not realizing that the Seinfeld show in that episode that they did about, well, there's not that there's anything wrong with being gay, was like groundbreaking because you didn't talk about it. It didn't matter. Right. And I think the live and let live attitude could have worked, except that these people somewhere along the line said, you know what? No, it's not enough just that you're okay with it. You have to celebrate it. You have to actively say, hey, I'm happy for you that this is going on. Like they try to go after Mr. Rogers because he had a song about boys are boys and girls are girls. And it's like,
which
Mr.
was
Rogers?
a natural song. Reality. You mean reality, biology. The problem is it's no longer about celebrating. They're programming children. This is poison. Yes. That's why I'm like
this, George, if you don't mind sharing this, I just dropped this in here. I heard this from this is a gay woman, by the way, Becky Weiss.
Oh, I love her. I follow her on Instagram.
Listen to this. She breaks it down perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me
around right now. If you allow your children to watch children's shows with pro-LGBTQ messaging, you are not being a rock star, all-inclusive ally. You are grooming them. And I say that as someone who looks like this. My son is not allowed to watch anything with pro-LGBTQ messaging in it. Well, gee, Becky, why is that? Aren't you gay? Super duper yes, but to teach a child that they can be gay, lesbian, bi, pan, yada, 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 is to imply that children are sexual beings.
Yes.
Capable of having an orientation.
It's on point.
Let that simmer for a second. Why would a child need to consider their orientation?
I mean, that's straight up grooming. That's why they do it. They do it because they want the kids to start planning this stuff in their heads that, oh, I have to think of myself in terms of who I want to sleep with. Like, what kind of sick shit is that? But she nailed it perfectly, man, in my opinion. They're not sexual beings,
I haven't seen
kids.
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, that's Becky Weiss.
Becky
I'll drop it in the I'll drop it in the private.
Send it to me because that's poignant because you're not supposed to. Number one, you don't have those conversations with little kids. Everything in its time, in Greek, ban metronaris, to balance all things. Everything. You didn't sit there in biology class, when you're 3 and go, hey, how do babies give it? No, everything to its own. So it's gone wild. It's now, how do we bring it back in? Like Charlie Kirk once said this. I was watching it the other day. He said it perfectly. It's like, I wish I would have said it because it was beautiful. He said, if you have anybody over the age of 18 who says they're the opposite sex, they have a mental illness. If you have a 3-year-old say they're the opposite sex, you have a parent who has mental illness.
A parent who has a mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't know. Becky Weiss talked about this. I remember her talking about this, but I think that what could possibly help And within the LGBTQ plus, it's very controversial topic, but they really want to divorce LGB from the
The
TQ
T
plus.
makes sense.
Yeah. Because one is sexual identities and the other ones are sexual orientations. And so they want to make a big distinction between the two because they think that like the TQ plus, especially the plus, is very dangerous to, the LGB, like the whole community. So I think that like when more people start talking about that, that could possibly have an effect. But when you're talking about like kids talking about their sexual orientation, who they're attracted to, like young children, I think that is preparing people for the plus end of the LGBTQ plus. The plus is very dangerous because they have been trying so hard to include maps under that banner. And if you don't know what maps are, that's minor
You're talking about the
attractive
pedos.
persons.
The
Yes, it's
pedos,
minor
yeah.
attractive persons. And in order to do that, they have to have these conversations with little children and talk to them
Yes.
about their sexual orientation and who you're
Yes.
attracted to. That's the only way, because if you can get little kids to start talking about and have that conversation as if they are adults,
Which they're
then
not.
you can start to have that conversation. Then you can start saying like, oh, well, they're old enough. See, they're old enough to make these decisions. They can talk about their sexual identity. They can talk about who they're attracted to. They're completely old enough for that. And that's the danger of the plus at the end of the LGBTQ plus, because they've been really trying for years and years and years to include minor attractive people under that umbrella. And the amount of people that I see defending the maps is just completely wild, because I don't understand how you could defend that type
You
of
can.
orientation.
But we
there's
just
no
saw
defense.
that. But we just saw that senator from District 43 in Seattle.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. You can't interfere with your kids. And that's not just, you have it in multiple states where they're trying to take away rights from their parents. Like where they were, remember during 2020 when you had that father in Virginia, he got arrested because he went to the school board meeting because of what happened to his daughter. Do y'all remember that story in Virginia where she was graped by a kid?
Yeah. I do
And they arrested him as a domestic terrorist.
Right,
And
yeah,
you mean
I
he was
remember
saying my daughter was graped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And
that's
he's
what
calling the
helped.
school board out, and they had him arrested. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
because he was emotional.
There's a reality to the fact that like there is, depending on where you're born and where you live and who you are and all that stuff, that you're going to as a child, you're going to run into things that you don't always understand, because your perception is there's a normal to things. There's a baseline that this is the way life works. If you're a child who's born with a mother and a father, you go, that's normal. That's what I'm used to. I grew up around a mom and a dad, so a mom and a mom doesn't make sense to me, or a dad don't make sense to me, or why doesn't this person have a mom in the house, or why doesn't this person have a dad in the house? Because it all deviates from a norm. And the attitude and the reality that they want to make is that everything is normal, that there's nothing different and nothing odd. Listen, if a child grows up in Africa and sees a pale-skinned white person walk through for the first time, they're going to go, why does that person look like this? It's not normal. And that's okay, because then you can, as a parent, have a conversation with a kid about that kind of stuff. But this is they want everything to be normalized because they think that even questioning this stuff is offensive, because then it reminds them that they're not normal, that they're different. The thing is, if you're a trans person, you want to be seen as whatever gender you identify as, but you still identify as trans, you're identifying as different than everybody else. That was always the point. It was never to normalize it. It was to say, listen, I'm different, and the way I live my lifestyle is different. And you know what? How I do that, and as long as it doesn't affect anybody else, do what you do. But now it has to affect everybody else. Their lifestyle has to be accepted by everyone around them, and now they have to push it into culture because they have to make everything normal. But the reality is, we already knew this. You can't make everything normal because there are evil people that do evil things, and those people cannot be normalized. You can't okay their behavior. You have to have social shame. And when you bring back social shame and social repercussions, then you start getting to, guess what? You can't just dress like this in public because people will mock you. You can't act like this at your job because you will lose your job. That's always been the case, and that's what the goal is to get rid of that. And you can't, or else you will destroy a society that way.
I think like through the 90s, we were trying to be more accepting of various different lifestyles, and accepting is one thing. It's like, okay, but it was still abnormal. All right. It's abnormal, but if that's the way you want to do it, as long as you don't come into my frame of reference, as long as you don't affect my life, as long as you don't try to change up what I got to do on a day-to-day basis, go live your life. It was live and let live, like through the 90s, 80s, 90s. That was what it was. When we got to the 2000s, I guess all of that acceptance turned into you must do this and that. You know, it's like it became the rule. Now you must accept me. It's not about, okay, you know, you can live your life. No, now you must call me by the preferred pronouns that I want to go by. And it's like, wait, time out. I don't have to do anything. Okay, that's the problem. We got to this stage where we started allowing a lot of stuff, and now it's become law to the point where George is saying, like, you could go to jail if you misgender somebody. You know, I know that's the case in certain parts of the UK and Canada. It's like you go to jail for misgendering somebody. You know, a guy makes a joke online and he lands in the UK and he gets arrested. Now it's starting to affect our regular, normal operating procedures. Okay, so at this point, all right, you guys are going way too far. You know, it's like at some point in time, learn when to say when. They pushed too far. They dug too deep and too greedily, like the dwarves from Lord of the Rings. And here we are. Now we pulling back. Say, nope, it's too late. Too late. Now we got to go in the opposite direction. We need a hard response to this because it's getting out of control.
And one thing that a lot of these people don't talk about, which is also funny to me, is the UK, the place where you can get arrested for saying the wrong things and stuff, has massively pushed back against children and gender affirming care for children, because they actually like did the science and went, actually, this is messing things up for us bad. So the people that are the most oppressive about free speech are also saying to you, yo, by the way, this isn't the way to do it, guys. And we're over here going, well, they must, you know, I mean, like, come on, man. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You know, it's what a mess, man.
But look, before we, this is how we'll wrap up Netflix. This one last video that I found, if y'all haven't seen it, and then we'll move on to the NFL. It's just crazy. But I think half of winning this battle is having the information, because obviously the mainstream media doesn't pump any of this out.
Shift in our company and in the industries that surround us. The neutral period is over. We need the courageous period. And that is part of how we are thinking about transformation, cultural change, content that allows for stories of all sorts of groups of people to be heard, and for all of us to have meaningful lives with dignity, even in the places we work.
Can you pause it real quick?
Yeah.
If your job, I'm gonna borrow from Eric July here a moment. If your job is VP of inclusion strategy, it's a fake job.
It is, of course. 100%.
It's a fake job.
100%.
Like, what does that even mean? The inclusion strategy?
It means like block commander. It means block commander, like the old Soviets used to have it. Brainwash, convert, or kill. That's it. Force.
It's crazy, man. If I took over a business and somebody had the job of VP of inclusion strategy, you're fired day one. I'm gonna go get your lunch out of the fridge. I'm gonna throw it on your desk and say, please go before end of day. You are not allowed to be here anymore. Like, it just makes no sense to me that anybody could have convinced a company to say, yo, I want to get paid to do this. Like, hey, I'm going to convince this guy to flush money down a toilet actively as a business owner. That's wild to me, man. Like, I wish I could get one of these fake jobs.
But they did it. But they did it. That's how we had this week when it broke out. We had these two things. I'm sure you have heard about it, all of y'all. You had Sony. You had someone list what Sony did on their PlayStation, and then we got to Harvard. Here it is. It goes, so my PlayStation is pushing diversity on my screen, Metatron, while showing off the rainbow flag and the transgender flag at me.
Metatron.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Metatron's cool, but that's what they were posting on his PlayStation.
Well,
I'm like, where's the conservative? Yeah, but where's the Christian message? Where's the conservative message? Where's the Jewish message? Where's the...
Oh, you know, you're not getting that.
Where's the traditional message where it says, you know, have a blessed day, or God loves you, or Christ, like something? Where is it? Nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere. Nope. My PlayStation would have been out the window.
Oh, yeah. And then you had Harvard. And then you had Harvard hired a drag queen named Lahore Vagistan.
What?
Harvard hires drag queen named Lahore Vagistan as visiting professor. Let's see what he is going to be teaching. The institution welcomed Kareem Kubchandani in a July message to the college community and revealed that the visiting professor from Tufts University, I can't even believe this individual is teaching anywhere, will teach in the studies of gender and sexuality program thanks to Harvard's Gender and Sexuality Caucus. This is why I said what Trump was doing, going after the universities, was not enough and shouldn't end. He needs to burn them to the ground financially so they don't get a penny, because they're not going to stop.
That's
Kuba
wild,
Chandi is perhaps better known by his stage name, Lahore Vajistani. The professor will often lecture in the guise of Lahore, which has been a personal project for over a decade. In an interview with his own drag persona published by none other than Johns Hopkins University Press, I can't believe I'm reading this. My name is Lahore Vajistan. My preferred pronouns are she or auntie. I chose Lahore because my family traces its origins to Pakistan. Lahore is an important city in Pakistan. Well, I'm a bit of a whore, the drag queen said. Well, let me tell you what my uncle used to tell me. He said, your uncle would be your aunt if he didn't have a dick. It's not possible.
That's wild.
Wow.
What are we doing, man?
But that's at Harvard.
That's at Harvard, yeah.
At Harvard.
That's
Lahore
wild, man.
Vagistan.
You can't stay here. You're fired.
Yeah.
If you work at Harvard and you hired this person, you read on a piece of paper Lahore Vagistan and you said, yeah, I'll hire that person, you lost your job. There's no tenure, there's no union, there's no conversation. You're gone. Right. You're out the door. And if the union says, yo, you get to keep getting a paycheck, oh man, all the locks changed. Weird. Security all of a sudden got your name on a list. You don't get to come back to this place. And that person don't get to walk up in Harvard to teach nothing. Here's the thing. What are the qualifications of this person? And especially if you were a professional, think about this. Even if this person had a doctorate degree in gender sexuality studies or whatever, you chose the name Lahore Vagistan, you lost your degree too. Guess what?
You can't make it up.
No, you don't have a doctorate anymore. You're not anything. You're just a whore now. That's crazy to me.
But they announced this. The thing is they announced it with a massive press release. It wasn't someone discovered it. Some
That's
reporter.
Crazy, bro.
They're proud of it, George. They're proud. They're proud to bring Lahore Vajistani into Harvard. What is Harvard anymore? Why is Harvard who cares about Harvard at this point? Harvard used to be the preeminent college, right? It's like, if you got into Harvard, oh my God. Now it's like anybody can get into Harvard. It's such a dumpster, man. Why would anybody even want to go to that school? Golly, man, I'm so glad the advent of technology has made it possible for people just to learn things on their own. You don't need a college professor to teach anything. You can go online. You can watch videos. You can do a lot of different things to get a quality, in my opinion, a quality education. And then it's about your passion and what you really care about as far as how far you'll make it in life. But to go to Harvard, nowadays it's almost worthless. Because they're just indoctrinating people left and right. And I know maybe in some circles that, that degree means something. That wouldn't mean shit to me. If I saw Harvard, I'd be like, all right, whatever, because I already know what Harvard is now.
But think about it,
Harvard
90K
on your resume, I'd wipe my ass with it.
But think about it, $90K a year for that. Somebody said, wait a minute. George Giant Slayer's not open to different perspectives. He wants the fascist model where universities, the media, and television only follow the fury of views. No, I want to have, no, it's okay. Open debate. That's fine. Not a problem here. I want to have it where it's about teaching critical thinking, where you're going to have some conservatives, you're going to have an equal amount of liberals, and they're going to be teaching facts, not opinions, not programming people. See, right now, elite universities, they're not educating people. These have become indoctrination camps the same way, again, Mao did it. See, there's no one reinvented the wheel here. The leftists in this country didn't reinvent something. They just did it very slowly because America is a free system. And we knew better when our children were educated that communism is evil and vile. So what they did is they did it slowly. They didn't come out like the Stalins did and like the Bolsheviks. They didn't stand up and go, we must bring the world down with the classes. They went after the kids. They made those kids professors. Those professors then trained the next generation. They got jobs in the corporations and public education in the government. Slowly, they boiled the frog. I want to hear everybody's point of view. I want to go to a university where a leftist can speak freely without getting attacked, and I want to go where I can hear a conservative speak freely. But I tell you what I don't want to hear, communists. I thought that was the biggest mistake in America. We should have never allowed communism to take root here. McCarthy was right. You don't allow an arsonist in your home who's sitting there flicking his bick, ready to torch it.
Yeah.
But they didn't see it that way, right? They saw it like I'm bringing in. I mean, at first I got to tell everybody that you're an oppressed victim.
Right.
Like that was the first step. So it's like we got to teach Black people that they're oppressed. We got to teach women that they're oppressed. We got to teach the LGBTQ group that they're oppressed. Everybody's oppressed. And once you got the oppressed, because they couldn't beat it on class, they lost. They lost 2 wars because everybody said, oh, classism. That's the way that we can get our communism in the door. But once people realize it's like, well, no, it's not really classism. I can make it. I'm not an oppressed person because I'm of another class. I can make it if I want to. So it's like, okay, so since you can make it, what other ways do we have to try to oppress people? What other methods? Oh, because of your race, you're oppressed. And so they planted that seed. And then because of your sex, you're oppressed. And then now that everybody thinks that they are some sort of an oppressed minority, now we can start to bring it all in together. And that's basically what's happening. They're trying to bring everything together, bring all the different oppressed minority classes together to fight against the, capitalism, evil of capitalism or whatever, Western
and also
society.
like, here's the thing. I will absolutely fight for anyone's free speech. You are allowed to say whatever you want. You're allowed to do, and that should be protected. The government should never be telling people what they can say and what they can't say. If you want to go on college campuses and talk about things, you should be able to do so freely without being attacked. I 100% agree with that. But if you want to have a conversation with me, and you walk in the door and introduce yourself as Lahore Vagistan, I'm going to walk out of the room. I don't want to talk to you about that. And I ain't got nothing to do with no Fuhrer or nothing. I don't want to hear your opinions. You've completely invalidated yourself. If
I'm remembering
no
correctly,
different than Rachel Dolezal walking in the room trying to talk to me about being Black. I don't want to hear what she has to say.
She's not Black?
Apparently not.
No, what? Come on,
I don't know if you look at some pictures, she was a blonde-haired white woman.
I don't know if you're more upset. If you're more upset that Harvard hired Lahore, or you're upset at the name.
I'm more upset that somebody could walk into a professional space like that and lecture anybody about a damn thing,
right?
Except how to have a terrible name. Like, I mean, if you want to tell your name sucks, because my name's Lahore Vagistan, cool. Good on you, pal. But, it's just wild to me, man. And that attitude of, well, we want it all our way. Once, like DA said, like we've been talking about from the beginning, I grew up in the 90s. There was so much available on television. And you had gay TV shows and gay characters on television. You had Black characters on television. You had TV shows about Black families. You had TV shows about interracial families. You had TV shows about poor people, rich people, all of it. And all of it was in the spectrum of we're just humans and we're just trying to do our own thing. Then you had shows like Star Trek, which were telling us, hey, the future can be better than what we've had before. And it's not about telling people how to live their lives and make people do what you want to do with it and stuff. There was a lot of great stuff on television. We have regressed as a society within the last 20 years. Because there's almost nobody can point me to television and anything on television that I would say, in 50 years, this will be studied as a positive thing in media. Because we're all still talking about the stuff from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, they didn't progress as entertainers. They just started, lecturing to us. That's basically the premise of all of the entertainment today. It's just a lecture, telling you what you're doing wrong and what you need to do to improve. Like Will and Grace, which was a hilarious show about gay people. I liked Will and Grace. Will and Grace was a lot of fun. Now you wouldn't see, they would just be badgering you and, smashing you over the head about oh, you know, you have to be more inclusive or this or that. That's what they would be doing today instead of just being funny.
Yeah, instead of just being funny.
If anything, they would say Will and Grace wasn't progressive enough.
Or
that. It would be like it's too white. You know, we have to add more diversity in there. They would say that
Intersectionality.
it promotes violent gay stereotypes. We have to take all of that stuff out. So I've seen them. I've seen a lot of people bash, 90s, 2000s TV for one reason or another. Like the Friends creator came out and apologized for not having a diverse cast. Yeah.
For
Yeah,
what?
she came out and apologized because people were discovering that show on Netflix, and complaining about how that show wasn't inclusive
Where are
enough.
all the black people? And you're like, what?
Yeah, so the creator, I can't remember which. It was the girl, not the guy, I believe, who came out and apologized and said like, "I'm so ashamed of myself," and it was a whole ridiculous thing. But for Harvard, I think I remember watching a video where a journalist was walking around campus asking, people about the death of Charlie Kirk, and some students even said like they were celebrating it. They were having parties at Harvard celebrating it. And then there was also a Harvard law professor who called like the shooter ultra MAGA on Twitter and was just getting hammered. So I mean, to say that universities aren't incredibly progressive and liberal is just completely ignoring it and saying that, trying to explain it away in yourself, like it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. These are higher learning education places of education, and that's true. But they can also be extremely liberal. They can also be extremely liberal. There's a reason why Charlie Kirk chose to go to college campuses to debate students and actually debate anybody, because the mic was open to anybody.
To everybody. But
the
that's
mic was
the
open to
point,
anybody.
though.
And I've seen a bunch of his there's a bunch of videos where like, people who are not students, older people, there are some professors who come and, who take up the mic.
Yeah.
So he opened his mic to everybody, but there was a reason why he went to college campuses, because he saw college campuses becoming more and more liberal, and so there weren't any really spaces or voices for conservatism on these college campuses. So like that's why he chose to go to these spaces. And I think that Steven Crowder right now is actually taking it to the next level, because he made an announcement saying like, these are the colleges that we're going to go to, and we want to debate college professors, and we're willing to put up money to donate to your campus if we can get some college professors to come and debate us on campus. So that like he's taking it to the next level. That's actually really good, because debating future minds is one thing, but to debate the people that are teaching these children is another thing.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
Well, let me take some super chats, because we have one that pertains from flying blind on a rocket cycle for $5. On a silly note, I take a James Bond film class taught by Pussy Galore stamp.
That's fair.
I agree with you. I love you, flying blind from rocket cycle. That's a good one. Bring the rest of them up, Fletcher. I just had to address that one. Achilles Jones for €5. Obviously, indoctrination. I saw on X this question. In school in 70s, 80s, 90s, how many kids did you know had gender dysphoria? Yeah, none. It used to be 0.0. Great question, by the way. Love it. Love brilliant minds. Good questions. By the last time that I checked, it said that gender dysphoria before 2010, I think it was from 1995 to 2010 was the study, was 0.0001% of the population. It was like 25 to 100 people a year. I think the biggest year was 250. Like nobody. And when you read the studies, most of the people who express gender dysphoria, they found a percentage were gay and or abused.
Yep.
That was it. And they didn't want to, that was all it was.
I believe it. I didn't run into many kids like that. And again, they'll say, well, they didn't feel comfortable to, blah, blah, blah. Now it's more accepted and this and that. But I think a lot of it is because, you know, people have been grooming kids, you know, the television, the movies, you know, some parents are doing this because they get some sort of brownie points, I guess, from their community if they have a trans daughter or something. It's just ridiculous, man.
Well, and the thing was, like, yeah, and you could say, cool, well, some people weren't comfortable, or some people weren't, you know, whatever the thing is you want to say that it was, but a 4,000% increase in women
social contagion,
transitioning, and that they're all like in, you know, within the ages of like teenager to like young adults. No.
Come on, kids are selfish by nature. It's part of an evolutionary trait so they can survive. That's why kids would cry or whine so they can be fed milk, you know, so they can get food, or if they're in pain. Well, if you put kids in a classroom and you got a teacher who's showing preferential treatment to the one kid whose parents have indoctrinated that is trans, well, what do you think other kids are going to say? They're not getting the attention they're supposed to get. They're like, whoa. Charlie over there is being treated special in their brain. They're not strategizing this way. They just feel there's something going on. And if they don't have a solid foundation, because look at mental health, how many modern day people have mental health issues? But that's a whole other topic. That kid then needs reinforcement. So he's like, Charlie's getting all the attention. How do I get the attention? Oh, I'm going to do this. And the next day, guess what? They get thrown parties. It's like how abortion was. Have you ever seen those abortion parties?
Oh my gosh, dude.
You know, where they're celebrating. I found one today. We'll get to it later. But
they're absolutely disgusting.
It is. But this one girl was like, I'm so tired of abortions, because she goes, you know, it's normal for women to get multiple abortions. I think she said every year or throughout their life. But she's like, I'm tired of it. And I'm like, well, you know, there's a simple cure for that. But anyway, it's the same thing. Thank you, Achilles Jones. Always on point. Appreciate it. Great question. Baba Yogi for $5. Jessica Lindstrom going live in about 30 minutes. Get over here and sub. Get her monetized so we control the hell out of her. Mod Lives Matters. Yeah. Well, go help her out. Help her out. Detailed Devil for $2. See misgender custody clause pulled from Colorado. Well, thank God. I was looking at it a few weeks ago. I was scared to death about that. Thank you, Detailed Devil. That's why I love my chat. Super Jones Bros for $5. Why the fuck do people still fall for the jabs? You think 5 years after the fact they get tired of it? Then again, they deserve Joe Biden's second term. Okay. Thank you for that. And we got Kisama for $2. The childless think your kids are theirs. They do. They even admit it now. They don't hide it. Eric K, our king of the mods. Epic Mickey knows Barney the dinosaur.
Nope, I don't know Barney at all. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means.
Detailed Devil for $10. Saw Avatar 2 3D IMAX. Love family focus. More violent than I recall. Hits different in 2025. Nearby dad with little girls. Cheered every Marine death. What? Hope Cameron gives Quaritch and Earther's nuance in part. Oh, okay. Cool. I haven't seen the second one. I never saw it. I saw the first one.
It's very family positive, but it's also still very anti-human. It's kind of a mixture of both. But
I appreciate it, Detailed. I will go take a look at it. Now, we need to take a breather before we get to the NFL. One of my favorite series is coming back. I thought, like a little break, a little breather. Landman. They just released the trailer for it.
Oh, nice.
I love Landman. I never really was a Billy Bob fan. Never was. But after Landman, I was like, okay. Then I started watching his movies.
Yeah.
Every dime you ever made, I pumped it out of the ground, and that don't change.
But he's dead, Tommy. And now what? I'm supposed to let his trophy wife go and try to pull permits from the Railroad Commission?
I run the company. She owns it. But if you want to fight about it, lawyer up, big boy. Let's go. Why don't you let me sell this thing?
I want success. Get it for me.
Have y'all seen it? It is my favorite series after Tulsa.
I have not watched it yet. God. It's on my list. I know Gary and a couple other people have suggested it to me.
I never go crazy for series. There are 4 series I would recommend anybody to watch in the last few years. Shogun, Tokyo Vice, which nobody talks about. I think it's one of the greatest series in the last decade. It was on HBO Max, Tokyo Vice. It's got Ken Watanabe in it.
Okay,
one of his best. Yeah, incredible. And they canceled it. And it's shot in Japanese. It's shot in Japan. Everything that, just to give you a quick film lesson, not that Mike needs it, but everybody else. In Japan, when American film sets go there, the Japanese public are not too happy about them because they feel like, okay, whatever. To shoot any production in Japan, like you're going to shoot on a street corner, you have to get a release from every person that lives there on that corner.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't go to just the mayor and go, hey, let me get a permit. No. They have to approve. They can't even read your script because because this production company was so authentic. They even brought Yakuza in, retired Yakuza supposedly, to help with everything. It's brilliant. So, Tokyo Vice, Shogun, Tulsa King, one of my favorite, 1923, and Landman. I have never been knocked over like I was with Landman.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Okay. So check it out. I've watched it three times now, season 1.
That's awesome. I love that.
I haven't done that.
How many seasons does it have?
1. That's
just one season. Okay.
Yeah, 2 is coming out now, November. It's kind of like I'm excited for Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill. He's doing it in one movie.
Yes.
I think around Christmas time with 7 extra minutes.
It's gonna be so good. I love Kill Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, we don't have any good female representation on television.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
This business. You have to know the rules of the game before you can bend them. And if you don't, you'll lose all of it. Hey, where are you?
At Drill Well 7. Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. So for once in your life, just please listen to me.
How do you manage to say the only thing that could possibly save you?
It's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna blow!
And Demi Moore was in it, and it did very well. I was surprised.
She's kind of experiencing a little bit of a career resurgence right now after Substance and stuff. Yeah, she's pretty rad. She's killing it right now. So good for her.
I'm happy for her, and she has a bigger role this season because, well, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't. Well, God, I want to say it, but I won't ruin it for Steph. What I was going to say is I did see a series that I never saw when it came out, and I think it's also on my top 10 list. One of these days, I'm going to do my top 10 series of all time. I saw Mad Men. I never saw Mad Men before. I just finished Mad Men. Never saw it.
It's on my list as well, but I haven't watched Mad Men as well.
I kept putting it off year after year, and it's just so well written.
Awesome.
Yeah, Landman is like that.
That's
I'm not a big Tyler Sheridan fan, but 1923.
Really?
I don't know why. I think the guy irritates me. I like his writing,
Gotcha.
but the guy irritates me. Like I love season 1 of Yellowstone. I love 1923, both seasons. It's just after Yellowstone was like the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It was kind of like, what are we watching?
He's everywhere right now. Yeah. I mean, what do you do? Like Wind River is a phenomenal movie. Dude, Sicario. I love Sicario. So yeah, he's earned a pretty wide level of grace in my book, but he's everywhere right now because there's no talent in Hollywood, and so they just will give whoever can do it work.
Yeah, but this one, you know what feels different about this one? Because I've also watched his series with I always forget his name, Hawkeye from Avengers, the actor
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. I saw Mayor of Kingston.
Oh, that's a good show. I like that show.
Very good show. And this, I thought Landman was going to be like a different version of Yellowstone. No, not at all. It's just nothing.
That's awesome.
So it's like he somehow has a new way. He keeps finding new ways, reinvents. It's like he's created a way to write, but then reinvents a fresh approach within that world, or just creates or goes to an interesting place. I think it was David Mamet who once said, what was the secret to writing? He said it's taking a story you've heard about but know nothing about, and then finding someone you'd like to meet or afraid to meet, and then go into their world. He's like gangsters.
Yep.
He's like, everybody's like, oh, you have an image of a romanticized gangster. So he's like Sopranos. Okay. He's like Deadwood. He's like, you hear cowboys, Indians, this whole thing, but then you shoot. And I was like, it's like shoot interesting people in strange places you've heard about and always wanted to know about. That was
It's great advice. I mean, yeah, that's
I've been calling you for hours.
But then I lost you too.
Hey, I'm coming!
Is it about me that makes you just scowl?
I just pray that you don't find something that makes the life you've lived a lie.
You take a long, hard look at me. I wasted 60 years.
Awesome.
Hope. We've avoided telling each other the truth for a long time. Let's not start now.
There are so many things about our lives that need to be fixed.
So it'll be good.
If we never keep our word, what's our word worth?
They're worth nothing. Nobody says. That's what the lawyers are for.
Who pissed in your Fruit Loop? Shot. It's the first thing you did this morning. Now walk me through this.
Excellent series. Excellent. He even in the first season he does this 5-minute rant because one of the characters, it doesn't matter, it's all over social media. A 5-minute rant with one of the characters is basically this fresh new lawyer who represents the oil company. She constantly has a scowl when they're talking about it. He's like, okay, if Exxon, he's basically saying, if Exxon thought there was money in wind or, electric, he goes, you'd see windmills from here to the horizon in every state if they thought this shit could work. His whole point is oil is running out. Musk says we're never running out of oil, but he just thinks it's better to do electric. But he goes through this 5-minute rant and it's beauty.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. So we got that to look forward to. We also have Kill Bill. I guess it's going to be what? 4 hours and no. Is it going to be a 5-hour movie?
Yeah, it was like 4 hours or something. Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I love Kill Bill. It's one of my favorite movie franchises. Yeah.
How can you not? And then we got the NFL before we jump to our last two subjects. The NFL decided to tell America, here's our middle finger. Go F yourself with Bad Bunny.
Oh.
This is Bad Bunny, the reggaeton rapper for TikTok zombies and Antifa and the rest of the world.
For TikTok zombies.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know what else to call them. It's like, it's like, I don't know. Well, there's supposed to be a story today. I have not confirmed it because people are pissed off about this. And he has this video where he's saying that he swore he would never come into the United States to play a concert again because he says he's afraid that ICE will deport his fans. Right. So he goes on in another article. Here it is. More images of Bad Bunny. And what I mean, the NFL is basically telling America that they're mocking our traditions, mocking a game of unity, and mocking fun. With a guy who really can't stand America, but forgets that he's American since he's from Puerto Rico, American territory. I mean, just a small little thing, but I thought it's important to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the idea of trying to separate yourself from America by saying you're Puerto Rican is pretty wild.
It is. It's crazy. It's like, okay, and more Bad Bunny who thinks that he is, for some reason, America's new mascot.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Lin-Manuel Miranda, who, I mean, like, I know he's not perfect and he's, part of the left and stuff too. His whole goal when he got famous was, I'm going to do everything I can to help Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And bring support and eyes to Puerto Rico and what they're going through. So to go, hey, I'm from Puerto Rico, so let me scream about anti-American sentiment. Probably not the way to go to help support the people that you, love and stuff like that. And I've been to Puerto Rico and I love that place.
Oh yeah.
And the attitude is not anti-American there. It's very much, we just want to be treated like everybody else is,
Yep.
and trying to separate that in people's minds is just going to further make people not understand what Puerto Rico is actually about.
I agree. And he gets to not, you know what the thing is, because he spends his time, enough time in Puerto Rico, that he gets to claim permanent resident status, even though he lives in Miami. So he doesn't pay federal income tax. Because if you're a permanent resident in Puerto Rico, you don't have to pay federal income tax.
Yep.
It's just
That
the
starts to make a little bit
hypocrisy.
more sense.
It's
That
the
starts to make a
hypocrisy.
little bit more sense. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, man, like, yeah.
I just, the hypocrisy of it gets me, and everybody can hear here a few seconds.
I'm never performing in the U.S. again. I'm scared that ICE might raid the venue outside my show. And honestly, I can't risk the safety of my fans like that. Mainland America just doesn't feel necessary to me anymore. I've already performed there plenty of times. Fans in the US have had lots of chances to see me live. That being said, I still care deeply about my Latino and Puerto Rican fans living in the States. Seeing me perform in Puerto Rico is always an option. That's why in my upcoming world tour, there are no stops in the continental US.
There are no stops in the continental US.
In the
I
continental
know.
US.
Thank you, brother.
Well, he's
It's like, is this
talking
guy
about
that dense? Like,
yeah, no, because that's why he said it. He phrased it as mainland U.S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mainland continental
mainland.
US.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he
That's
said
like-
that, like you can come and watch me in Puerto Rico because I'm still going to perform there, but not on mainland U.S.
That's crazy.
Or unless Jay-Z flashes a big enough fat check in his face, which I didn't know that Jay-Z picks all the halftime performers since 2019. I'm like, why? I miss great
Power,
acts.
man. Power,
Don't you
man.
miss the great acts like Prince rocking it out in a Miami thunderstorm? Come on, that was a Super
That
Bowl
was
halftime.
it's still my favorite Super Bowl halftime performance ever. Dude, that Prince thing. I was pretty young when that happened, and I remember watching that.
Yeah.
And my mind was blown, dude. I had never seen anything like that on ever.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Michael
Even-
Jackson
oh,
coming out
standing
standing
like a statue. He didn't
like
move.
a statue.
I
Have
was
the
like-
people in his ears screaming at him, Michael, you got to do something. And,
But he was
man.
perfect. It was like minutes. He was like 10 feet tall at the time. See, to me, those
Oh my
are
gosh,
acts.
dude. Bigger than life, yeah.
Not these people. And when you check out, the problem is when you start digging into Jay-Z, because Benny Johnson did it earlier this week, I didn't realize that they're following like the satanic spirit cooker of Marina Abramovich.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean-
Jay-Z is one of those people, like, I know he's been rumored to be involved in a lot of different like secret societies and cults and stuff. I mean, but he's one of those people, there's a growing attitude of like spiritualism. And so they'll talk about spiritualism and being very spiritually minded, but they're not actually talking about like a religion. Typically that they're often talking about like weird, like gurus and shamans that are like, you know, helping them channel stuff. It's weird, man. When you really start getting into it, it's pretty gross and it's pretty evil. I mean, like,
I just I think we're going to be having war next week. I think there was, I apologize about that. I think there was some miscommunication. Instead of this Sunday, it's next Sunday. I just want everybody to know because I've been
more
checking them.
excuse to hang out with George, man. Listen,
Hey,
we're
well,
all
hopefully y'all come back. I want y'all all to meet Warren. He's a really has an incredible mind. Great person.
He's a cool dude. Yeah,
He
he's
is.
really cool takes.
Yeah, he's pretty, I've been watching him for a while.
He's a
So,
good dude.
yeah.
I like the way he reasons, his critical analysis, and his calm wisdom. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, his demeanor is very calm, and the way he looks at and deciphers debates, like I like.
Oh yeah, man.
watching
Yeah.
him.
Oh yeah, that little when he breaks down the debates. I was watching
Yeah.
him breaking down. I want to say I forget who it was, but it I somebody debating Charlie Kirk, and it was really well done. Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude. I've been on with him
smart
before, so.
Oh yeah, we
Wouldn't
have.
be my
We hit
first
it.
time.
It'll be his
Yeah,
fourth
I've been
time.
on
Yeah,
with him
'cause,
before.
yeah. Like I said, it'll be his fourth time. This is what I find funny. So Bad Bunny, they won't disclose what the check is because he said he wouldn't play a concert here again. So he's coming back, and he's afraid ICE again is going to deport his fans. So Benny Johnson spoke with Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security.
What is your message to the NFL? What is your message to Bad Bunny? Will there be ICE enforcement at the Super Bowl?
There will be because the Department of Homeland Security
is responsible for keeping it safe. So I have the responsibility for making sure everybody goes to the Super Bowl, has the opportunity to enjoy it and to leave, and that's what America is about. So yeah, we'll be all over that place. And we're going to enforce the law. So I think people should not be coming to the Super Bowl unless they're law-abiding Americans who love this country.
And your message to the NFL with this decision? It seems like they were trying to send a message to the Trump administration.
Well, they suck and we'll win and God will bless us and we'll stand and be proud of ourselves at the end of the day, and they won't be able to sleep at night because they don't know what they believe and they're so weak. We'll fix it.
Thank you.
Let him know,
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
I can't wait. It's like the thing that he said he feared, they're actually going to do. Hey, Hong Kong Fui, I like Paulie. Paulie, I'll bring him back on. He was on here 7 months ago. I love having liberals on. They every invitation I've sent out, only Paulie's accepted. Well, also we used to have Robert Meyer Burnett on here because he's been busy lately. He's a avowed liberal. I have no problems with liberals. I have a problem with leftists and communists, which in my Greek way, I believe in dictatorships to stomp out fucking communists, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, the thing is too, like, but what, okay, I don't want ICE to, deport my fans, blah, 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 but you're going to ignore the fact that part of the reason that the Department of Homeland Security is there is because there are thousands of people that get trafficked from the Super Bowl every year. Children, women. So you're saying, I don't want these people here that are going to protect the most vulnerable of us at an event that is notorious for people disappearing at, because I don't want my fans that might be there illegally to do that. Also, you're not going to perform in the continental United States, but you'll go and perform in Mexico, where there's like notorious cartels and trafficking and drug running and people being murdered, and not just murdered in their country, but along the border and in Texas and in Arizona and all this stuff, which is all, ramped up recently because of the fact that people, enforcement agencies like ICE and Homeland Security have been given more teeth to deal with them. So it's that thing again of like, well, I'm going to morally grandstand about the United States and what a terrible place it is, but I'll ignore the fact that most other countries in the world are guilty of far more egregious, evil, like legitimately evil things that it is well known that are happening there. So you're gonna, you want to morally grandstand. The only reason you can even stand there and morally grandstand like that is because you're part of the United States and we protect your free speech. And you're making money.
Money from the United States. That's the part that always gets me with these cowards. You're making all your cash from here. You have a global audience, but where did the core start? The other thing that bothered me is he did his Saturday Night Live skit last night. Mm-hmm. And it didn't bother me, the skit. It bothered me because it's a continuation of a theme, which half my family speaks Spanish. I can understand it. They're not as fluent anymore. So I love Spanish. No problem with that. It's that he says he will only sing in Spanish in the U.S., even though he speaks English. So I'm like, you're going to go to a Super Bowl event and you're not going to communicate to the show, to all of the fans in the U.S. Like, I don't know. Do it for everybody. So you get Rolling Stone magazine comes out and goes, Bad Bunny is going to make Super Bowl history with the first halftime show solely in Spanish. And I'm like, okay, no subtitles, just lectures, no unity. He's like,
nobody's going to watch it, right? Because like, why would anybody watch it? You're just going to go do something else, go get snacks, go talk to their friends, go do something else other than watch the Super Bowl halftime show. Most people will probably turn away, flip it off or whatever, and they'll probably drop in the ratings because of it.
Well, the thing is it's like Spielberg already proved that didn't work when he did the West Side Story remake with Zegler, and that was her first part when he had it with no subtitles, because he's like, well, people should learn the language. And that was the bit that kind of irritated me from the Saturday Night Live skit, because you had Bad Bunny come out and he said, and if you didn't understand this last bit, it's kind of like, go learn the language. I'm like, okay, when I'm in Greece, I learn Greek. When I'm here, I learn English. If I learn Spanish, great, but you have to reach everybody. That's the part that bothers me about the NFL. Like, they're telling their fans to go F themselves. Am I wrong there?
I don't think so. I mean, if I'm a performer and like, if I don't know the language, that's one thing, but yeah, like I make jokes all the time about American superiority, blah blah. If I go to a country like Japan, I should be respectful of their culture. And if I don't learn Japanese, I should not expect them to cater to me being there. It's my job to hire somebody who's a translator or hire somebody who, as a guide, who can speak English to help me understand what's going on. And if there's places that cater to Americans, awesome, good for them. But they shouldn't have to do that, just like I wouldn't expect it to happen here. Now, you do get unique, we're unique as a country because you get communities of people where there's primarily Spanish-speaking people, and primarily, there's certain different languages where people speak it primarily in certain areas. And so you get places like, communities where they have signs where they do both English and Spanish. And we do have such a swath of different people in this country, so we do cater to other languages to make people more comfortable, to give them more opportunities. But that's because as American and as a big country like this that has so many people here, we want to be understanding of different cultures. But when you go to other places, they're not tolerant of that. They don't care about that kind of stuff. And so it's my job as a person, as a tourist, as a guest in their country, to be respectful of that culture. And I think just saying I'm not going to speak English here, well, they speak English in other countries, so what are you doing?
Right. Yeah, that's what bugged me. Go ahead, Steph.
The thing that I don't know, the thing that sticks out to me is like I'm not going to speak English or I'm only going to speak Spanish. If you want to understand it, learn the language. That's kind of implying that like the main language of the US is Spanish when it's not, it's English. Right. And to say that like if you want to understand me, you have to learn Spanish. It's kind of I don't know, like this main character obsession of you need to cater to me. If you want to understand me, if you want to understand the words that I'm saying, you need to learn it. I don't need to change how I am. This is how I am. And I'm not going to conform or I'm not going to change to anybody, no matter where I'm at. Does he, when he goes to other places and performs in other places, does he speak English there? I don't know. I've never really watched that.
Yeah, I checked because I'm working on a video. I checked. He was in Germany and he spoke English and Spanish. So I was like,
that's wild, dude.
It's like, why would you do
but
that?
Does he go there and make an announcement like I'm going to speak nothing but Spanish, and if you want to understand me, you need to learn the language?
No, he does his thing and he goes back and forth. But here he's like, I'm only going to sing in Spanish. I'm like, he's like, it's. I think he said it was a shout out to the Latino community that helped build them. I'm like, okay, I'm sure there are non-Latinos who like music. Like it used to be Entertainers United people. Let's go have fun. Here's a thing that I made. Let's all get together and enjoy it. It's like Michael Jordan said, even Republicans buy tennis shoes, not tennis shoes, basketball shoes.
Or basketball shoes, yeah. But yeah.
Because they were pissed at him. They're like, did you just cut a commercial? He cut a commercial where he was talking about something conservative. He's like, because even Republicans buy basketball shoes. Like,
I don't know. It's the whole thing of like, you just can't go and do your job and perform and do an excellent performance. You have to make some sort of a statement about it. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you have to make it political? Why do you have to make it a statement? You're a performer, you're an entertainer. Just go and entertain.
Because they're activists. Because that's what they want to be. They want to be these little wannabe activists and, make a point. It's not about a good performance. It's about making a point. It's about giving a middle finger to all the people that you dislike on the other side of your political argument or whatever. That's basically what it's about. Instead of just being an entertainer. We've seen it all the way through Hollywood over the last 10 to 12 years. Everybody's become an activist instead of just an entertainer. Shut up and act. Shut up and sing. It's like I'm like when it comes to sports too. Shut up and dribble. Yep, you're right, LeBron. Shut up and dribble, because I don't care what you think. If I want political commentary, I'll listen to the politicians. All right. If I want social commentary, I'll listen to people like Benny Johnson, etc. If I want to watch basketball, I don't go over there and look at Benny Johnson and say, hey, Benny, how come you're not dribbling the ball right? Or how come you're not singing me a song? No, I'm here for what I'm here for. So can you just get back to what I came to hear? Instead of doing all this other crap, because this other crap isn't working for you. It's really diminishing your brand, to be honest with you.
It does. Or if you're Magic Johnson's son, wear a bustier. I don't know. I don't know if y'all saw that. It was crazy. I'm not sharing it. This is going to be because I want to save the two main topics I wanted to hit. I want to save it for when Warren's here next week. So I hope y'all come back. It's because I'll tell y'all real quick before we hit the last subject really quickly. It's about James Gunn. What bothered me the last 2 weeks is you have a lot of people making Charlie Kirk content. That doesn't bother me. It's the conspiracies have gone crazy. I feel like some aren't doing it as real investigators. Like they want to find the truth. They're just using a man's corpse for clicks. And that really has irritated me because they're not thinking about the fact that the defense is going to be hoovering up all of this. They are. I saw it in the Depp trial. I've seen it before. The bigger that YouTube gets, the bigger that YouTubers get, they're going to be taking that information and using it to help a killer. Okay? Because remember, during the preliminary hearing, the defense agreed. They didn't contest it. They're like, okay, we basically agree that the prosecution has the evidence. But when you hear someone like Officer Tatum come out and is like, look, yes, there was an autopsy performed. I can tell you, I knew Charlie Kirk for 20 years. Yeah. When he's talking about it, he's like, these things are crazy. I've talked to family members who are in law enforcement. They don't share with you every detail. They can't, and they wouldn't do it. And so it has
Tatum's video about Charlie Kirk autopsy, that like it was just a quick like sit down. He was just staring at the camera talking about it from his perspective as former law enforcement. It was a really good video because there have been a lot of people wondering like, oh, they didn't perform an autopsy. That was like a conspiracy that was thrown out there into the internet, and once the internet gets a hold of something, it completely like blows it way out of proportion, and they take this conspiracy and they run with it. And he had to come out and be like, there was an autopsy performed. That's just the law. And to say that that's not, it wasn't, there wasn't an autopsy performed just so you can feed into this conspiracy is ridiculous, because that is the law. He was assassinated, and if there wasn't an autopsy, he would be the first person who was assassinated who would not receive an autopsy. That's just the law. And the reason that there's nobody talking about it is because they have to keep that stuff under wraps for court. They have to do that. That's something that they have to do. I'm not saying that I know like everything that goes into it, but I mean, I feel like it's just kind of common knowledge. You don't want to give the defense any more motive. You don't want to shift any, be able to have them shift blame to like other people, to create reasonable doubt, within the jury, and then the killer gets let off.
Look at what happened this week. Sorry, go ahead, Steph.
And you saw this, like, you saw it with, I think, one of the bigger trials that I watched, where I couldn't believe that this person was set free, was the Casey Anthony trial, where you knew that she murdered her child. There was plenty of evidence to confirm, and even after the trial, that she actually she committed the crime. But because the defense was able to raise enough reasonable doubt, she was set free, and that's what they don't want to happen. So they will release some stuff to the public, but most of the things will remain under wraps until the trial actually happens. And I think that like people create all of these conspiracies surrounding Charlie's death because it was such a widely watched thing. I mean, it was available on the internet for people to watch. I mean, it wasn't taken down for like a couple of days. You could go and search and see that. And I think that in order to wrap your mind around what happened to him, in order to rationalize something so incredibly violent that you just watched on X or wherever you saw it, your mind kind of has to rationalize it by saying like, this can't just be one person that did this. Like, it has to be a whole conspiracy. It has to be like a group that, committed this crime. There's no way that one person can do this. And, you have to try and, it's like their minds are trying to rationalize what happened, but sometimes the simplest answer is the right one, right? It was this one person who did this violent act that practically everybody saw. And that's why these conspiracies are born, because it's just people trying to rationalize what they saw, because they just can't wrap their mind around something so awful and violent happening to somebody.
Well, this is what I wrote when I was, sorry, 1 second.
No, go ahead, please.
I wrote this when I was getting ready for our show. And I'm like, if the truth is sacred, where's the moral line between investigating evil and inventing it for clicks? Think about it, because people are doing this, and some of them I do not believe give a damn about the truth. It's just, how do I feed the algorithm? But they don't realize the danger they're causing.
Yeah, I have seen one prominent person putting out video after video, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Like the
Yeah.
I have one prominent person putting video after video, conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy, and making it all about them. And I'm just like, wow. How are people watching
have
this?
a little respect. I know you got to go, Steph. I hope you join us when Warren comes back.
Yes, I do.
can't
I have
wait.
to get going.
All right.
I have a stream on my channel in about half an hour. As you guys know, I do gaming on Sunday, so it's Gaming with Disbrew happens in about half an hour. So I do need to go so I can get ready for that. And then I have Talk Nerdy later on over on OG RJ's channel. So
please go support her. Go see her later. Go
you,
watch
bye.
her. Bye-bye.
Bye, Steph.
Yeah, so that's been bothering me. People grifting off of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, well, there's always, when tragedies happen, a question of why and wanting to understand it and rationalize it. And I do think it's important to go, hey, you know what? In this day and age, some things are more. There's a lot of proof that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes when it comes to political acts and all these things and stuff. But I also think it's important to let cooler heads prevail in those moments. That in the moment the day after, you're not going to get answers. A week after, you're not going to get answers. It takes time. And if you're somebody that actually does have evidence and you do have proof of some kind of grand conspiracy, talking on YouTube ain't gonna do nothing about it. That ain't gonna change anything about it. And in fact, like Steph and like George said, that you may actually be interfering in what law enforcement has to do because of that. Because there's a lot of things things moving, and there's a lot of moving parts to all of this stuff. And if you think you know something that's going on and stuff, and you think that you can actually affect something, go to the right people to try to affect things, But it happens all the time, and then you start jumping at shadows. And there's a real principle to, like, when something like this happens, the worst thing that you could do is become reactive, because that is how you become manipulated. That's people will just manipulate you right into any box they want you to be, because you're just jumping at every shadow that you see, instead of being slow to act and
methodical,
quick to listen.
calm. Billy Loomis is right about one thing. Question everything. I believe in that. You also say law enforcement has been incompetent. They have been in many things. We've seen it.
Oh yeah.
But there's still a difference between questioning everything and, as Dickie Holmes said, desktop detectives who don't have access to be able to run DNA, to do, shoe print analysis, to pull sweat glands off of the time. You can't do any of that. So what they're doing is taking what exists out in the wild, out online, and they're going, let me try to reconstruct this. But they're doing it with incomplete pieces. Mm-hmm. And it's not wrong if you're speculating and you tell people, look, I cared about him. I'm speculating now, but I am seeing video after video. Well, I was a sniper, and let me tell you, this wouldn't be possible here. I'm like, okay. Another one's like, well, I was a sniper, and this, like, dude, you're not helping the case if you give a damn about Charlie Kirk.
And I know people, and this is not me trying to flex by any means, but I know some people that were in the military and have knowledge of a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I've talked to, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of conversations after the attempted assassination on Trump about what was really going on behind the scenes. And sometimes even disseminating the information to people, they won't believe it. It doesn't change anything. What matters is how you react to it. And if you're somebody that says, hey, I have a position of influence, most people are not going, how can I get more information about this stuff? Most people are going, what do I do now? How can I respond in a world like this? A lot of fear mongering happens with the media. And I think it is our responsibility as people that have influence and have audiences to help ease that fear and ease that discomfort, to have conversations about things. And yes, if you know something, or you know something that could help people feel at peace about things, have that kind of conversation. But yes, I 100% agree. It doesn't sit right seeing people throw Charlie Kirk and all their thumbnails that don't actually have a vested interest in Charlie Kirk or what he stood for, are just doing it because they know that's going to get the clicks for now. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one. Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few. And that's what I want to talk about next week. So again, I hope you could join us. This is the last topic. It's a really quick one. This is what I want to talk about because this is the last piece to me that's connected. How entertainment is now nothing but ideology. 2 weeks ago, Variety interviewed James Gunn. And they were basically asking him, when you were writing this was before the presidential election. Yeah, long story short, did it impact your writing? Did it impact the show? Or were you using the show to speak about things? He's like, no, my stupid show, I'm paraphrasing now. He basically said in the September 26 interview that it's my stupid show. It's not going to have any impact on the world. And I'm not going to be writing about things I believe in, even though I'm kind of writing about some things that I believe in, but I'm not, but maybe I am, but it would only be a little. Well, this week's Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of says, yeah, he really is pushing his agenda. Not like anybody couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Nazis won World War II here. Huh? I've been reading all the history books and
Shit, I didn't set it up properly. Peacemaker and his team goes to save him because Peacemaker went into another world, Earth X, which was what happened if Hitler had won and everybody in America would be this kind of like Leave It to Beaver world. That's how it was set up until you realize, oh my God, they're all Nazis. And so now the team shows up to find Peacemaker to save him. And the guy who was going after him all this time, whatever his name is, Judo Fist, Judo Punch.
Judo Master.
He's such a short little shit. It's funny calling him Judo Master. I know. But he's a kind of, anyway. So Judo Master is now talking with one of Peacemaker's friends. And they're still in that Nazi Earth.
Yep.
Let me start it over.
Nazis won World War II here. Huh? I've been reading all the history books on the bookshelf. You don't want to be a minority here, or gay, or Buddhist, or anything I am, really. And also, Cheetos with an H on the end aren't nearly as good.
Jesus Christ.
Him they love.
Sad part is, I'm not so sure this Nazi world is as different from our own world as we wish it was.
Damn straight.
Y'all heard that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched it. I
watched it too,
almost
man.
turned it off right then and there. As soon as I saw this
Yes.
part, I literally just like, you know what? I got other things I could be doing with my time. But I did finish the episode ultimately. It just shows you where James Gunn is, how he really feels about the country that we have going right now. He thinks this is Nazi world, I guess. Yeah. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
He thinks we're living right now in Earth X.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so wild to me because what's so funny about this is supposed to be canon to James Gunn's world that he's now building, this new DC world and universe. Those people are not from our world. Those people are from the world that Superman is from. And you just said in a show that is considered canon to your universe that this world isn't any different than the world that has Superman in it. That Superman is such an ineffective symbol of hope in the world that you're crafting, that the superheroes are so ineffective at changing things or providing hope or peace to anybody that it feels like they're still living in like a world taken over by Nazis. Yeah. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Great point.
Yeah, it's just completely wild. And also it's funny because they're like, yeah, well, it's not good to be a minority here. What minorities? What do they do with Africa? Blow up the entire continent? Like, do you understand what the implications of that are? Like, do you actually understand what you're saying? And the thing is, they never actually address what was happening in that world. What happened to all the minorities? Because they say, well, one got out, but got out of where?
Where? Good point.
What was the point of that? Because here's the thing, a world where you only have a bunch of like white people in it and they're portraying this as a utopia that is everybody's happy and there's no crime and everything's great, which in and of itself is really like really like tone deaf, but
Yeah.
you're also establishing in this world that they rounded up all the minorities of the world. What, Chinese people too? Did they go stomp over to Japan and take over Japan too? Did they get like, are they
Mexico,
like
Spain?
Yeah, Mexico, like it defies all logic to actually think
Yeah.
about what they're trying to portray here.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but you're saying this and going, okay, cool, but what people and what do they do with them? Because then it actually is an impetus on the heroes that are in that world that think this is so terrible to try to actually do something about it, and they don't. They go, I can't wait to leave here. I can't wait to go. Like, it just makes no sense at all. And then to say, well, our world is no different than this one. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, except that you're a minority who, you know, is actively out in the wild working with a known criminal and haven't been arrested or thrown into a box somewhere. Like,
Your mother was the lead or the head of what was it, Argus or
Argus,
I forget, Amanda Waller, right?
Amanda Waller.
Right, yeah, like this wouldn't have gone down in that other universe, right? Amanda Waller would not be leading Argus in the opposite, in the Nazi world, but these worlds are the same. It's not, I can barely tell the difference. That's ridiculous, man. Like, Adebayo, when's the last time you got chased by a mob of white people? Because that happened within like one day of you existing in the Nazi world. But when's the last time that happened in your regular world? Oh, never? Oh, but it's not that much different. It's stupid. It's stupid. James Gunn didn't think this thing through. Like I said, these guys don't think. They just want to make a point. They just want to say something to get everybody thinking about it, getting everybody talking about it. That was the whole point of it. All right, success. But now what does this do for your universe? It makes it look like you have no plan. No plan. Everything is sloppy. Everything, and it's baked in all of this degeneracy, which is really getting under my skin, man, because there's so many disgusting jokes like, everything has to be the boys when it comes to James Gunn, man. He just can't let DC be DC. So, yeah, that's one of the biggest problems I got, man.
Well, Superman, again, Mike brought it up perfectly. How in a world where Superman exists would you say it's the same shit as Naziville? It cannot. That means he's either not a real Superman, hasn't done anything, or doesn't give a shit. I mean, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Could you imagine them saying that about Christopher Reeve's Superman or
oh my gosh,
Henry Cavill? Like, come on.
And the thing is, like, the thing is too, once again, if you wanted to just make this a show and you go, listen, like these shows are not all interconnected. It's just kind of in the zeitgeist of the comic book universe. Don't take it so seriously, but that's not what James Gunn did. He said all of this was canon. He wanted an interconnected universe across TV, video games, merchandise, all of it that all affected each other. And so you're presenting this world and you're presenting all of this stuff, and you have a bunch of jokes, you have a bunch of setup in here that doesn't make sense in the context of a bigger canon building universe. This is a throwaway idea and a throwaway show that could be funny in a very enclosed context. But the reason it doesn't resonate with people is because, one, we've heard all of this rhetoric before, but two, because you're implying that the bigger issue here is within the worlds that you are crafting. You are saying that this is canon and this is the world, and then you turn around and have a moment with the dad, who was a complete racist Nazi in the other universe, say, hey, I'm not a bad guy, I'm just doing what I can to make this world a better place. Oh, I don't know, James Gunn, that's weird. That's almost like what the reality of the world we live in, that not everybody can fight every injustice that they possibly run into, and that most people, even people that you may perceive as bad people that you don't align with, are actually decent people who are just out there doing the best that they can do and trying to make the world a better place. I don't know, kind of like your friend Chris Pratt, when they tried to cancel him and James Gunn went to bat and said, I know Chris, he's a good dude, he's a really kind guy, I like him and I support him, and he would never be the things that you guys are accusing him of. I don't know, kind of like when you got canceled years ago and being accused of stuff that you actually said. And then not only that, but you're employing Robert Patrick, who is a known conservative, who is very open about his beliefs, and who isn't a Nazi or a bad person. Why are you working with these people and then turning around and saying that their beliefs are just as bad as Nazism? Like, make it make sense, man.
It doesn't, and I think it shows you again how sloppy Gunn is. More than anything, because
sloppy, that's really what it is.
It's not. He is not so far the man he was at Marvel.
No,
that's how I see it.
I say that he doesn't have the talent to pull off a story like this. He doesn't have the writing talent. In the hands of somebody else, this might actually have really, really worked well, you know, trying to blend Nazi world, you know, versus the real world. But James Gunn is just too heavy-handed, you know, to write this story. He just can't write it the way somebody else might have been able to write it. So I think that it's just not his skill set. I think the whole DCU is not his skill set. I think he needs to just go back to doing things like Guardians, Suicide Squad, which is fine, you know, but like Peacemaker is, and the first season of Peacemaker was all right. But I think this one is just showing his limitations. He's very limited as a writer.
Good word. Limitations. I feel like Peacemaker is the R-rated version of Guardians of the Galaxy. And I feel like I don't want to talk about Superman again because we beat that horse to death.
Yeah.
Outside of a few scenes, I felt that was Marvel's version of DC. That's just me. I don't know if y'all feel that way, but that's what I thought. It's like I really like Corn Sweat. I think he has the heart of a Superman. And I saw his audition that he filmed himself, and I was like, that's better directing than James Gunn. Like, I was like, that is what we should have seen. Anyway. The whole point of this is that it all connects. That's what today was about. To where we have this video of Kristen Hawkins at George Washington University being told by a student that after Charlie Kirk was killed, not only that the student says that he deserved it, but that lynchings of Black people were taking place in today's time.
Do you believe my friend Charlie? Do you think he deserved an assassination?
No, he was a Nazi. That's not a good conversation.
That's actually not true.
I'm trying to say
What's the proof
something.
that Charlie was a Nazi?
That he advocated for the death of trans and gay people. He advocated
No,
for the
he
death
did
of...
not. That's actually been disproven multiple times.
Okay,
if
that's
you
not the
actually
conversation
look up
that
the
I
clip.
came to
Okay,
have with
because you
you.
can't defend it. Okay.
No, it's because I don't want
Say
to defend
something
it.
terrible about somebody who was just assassinated. Why can't you just say that
Because he
I
was a Nazi.
disagree? So you think he got what he deserved?
Yeah. Hide in the camera.
Could you imagine saying that with that type of audacity? Yeah, I think he got what he deserved. A father of two who talked, who spoke, even if you disagreed with him. It's just, it still stuns me.
Hide in the camera.
Do you hear what you're saying?
Yeah, I
you
do.
You just said a father of two.
Oh my God!
Got what
Oh
he
my God!
deserved.
Oh my God! A father of two. He wanted his child to carry a baby if they got raped. Wait, no, look at me. No, look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Oh, I'll look at you.
He said that if his 9-year-old daughter got raped, he would make her carry that baby to term. Is that something you agree with?
Yes. My daughter got raped. The most unimaginable tragedy I can imagine. I don't think sexual assault and the conception of a new human being justifies killing the human being.
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful.
Well, you just
Can you
justified.
pause it?
You just.
It's just funny. She's like, by the way, yeah, I actually stand in the beliefs that I stand by. Unlike this person who now has waffled to 4 different subjects in the in this point of this conversation, because they're taught, well, I watch this on TikTok, so this must be truth. And so everybody walks around making the same parroting points. And everybody makes the same little bullet points thinking, well, this person said it, so it must be true. And then when it gets disproven, there's any pushback, the immediate goal is to go to the next clip in their head that's rolling through, because you never actually thought of, there's no critical thinking taking place here. And it's just funny to me to think that, you know, she's having a conversation with you, and yeah, you have to openly admit that you have an abhorrent morality to say that about somebody. And so she's like, you think that she deserved it? Yeah, I absolutely do. Okay, cool. So then the context of that has to be, all right, well, if you actually use critical thinking, let's think about where the line is for you. But they don't actually think about where the line is for them, about what is or isn't okay, because most of them are just parroting what they've been told by TV and TikTok influencers who make catchy clips that they know are influential to young kids that are watching this stuff.
Yeah, but the problem is they don't think beyond that, like you just said. They don't think beyond the sound bite, the clip, or whatever was taken out of context, because 9 times out of 10, these clips are taken out of context and built to build a narrative. But that's the reality. You're right. It's like these people are programmed. They have information downloaded into their minds, and then they just spit it out, you know, as soon as there's an opportunity, a mic is put in front of them, and then they just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, and they never actually stop to think about what it is they're saying. You know, and and that's on college campuses. And that's why Charlie Kirk was there, because he's like, no, slow down. Let's actually talk about this point that you are trying to bring up and debate with me. Let's talk about this point and let's carry this to its obvious conclusions. Because a lot of these guys don't think about the unintended consequences of things that happen in the world. They just go out, oh, well, no, it's fine just to give, people free money or, whatever. They don't think about, well, what does this ultimately lead to? Like, what's the end result of all of this? They never think that far. And when Charlie Kirk was trying to get people just to think, they took his life for it.
They did. That's the whole point. They took his life for it. But in the last video that I wanted you to see, which is her, she finishes at the last minute. I think this is the key part, if I had the right one.
You just said that my friend got what he deserved. I want you to back that up.
Yeah, because he was a fucking Nazi who was advocating for violence, bro.
He was not a Nazi. He never advocated for violence. That is purely.
He never advocated for violence?
No. How many cities burned after Charlie was assassinated? How many violent things happened? If he was actually
black
advocating
students
violence,
were lynched on campus. Violence.
Did y'all hear about that? Because I've checked the news everywhere.
Yes, so I remember hearing about this story. It came out a few days after Charlie's was killed.
Delta State University.
Yep, and there was a young black man who was found hanging from a tree. And the concern was that because of the state of everything in the country, and because of what happened, that this was a retaliation, and that this was a modern day lynching.
But a white guy killed him.
No, it was a suicide.
It was a suicide. But the thing is, what was reported on was that it was a suicide. That the police were investigating and found no at the scene of the crime, found no foul play. What was reported on Twitter and TikTok was by a bunch of black influencers was this was a modern day lynching, that he was lynched, that the police were trying to cover it all up, and blah blah blah, and they were waiting for conclusive results. And then what happened was they took it to the coroner. The coroner, because the parents also said, oh, we heard that his parents were even in on this, and were told that his limbs were broken on the scene and that he had a bunch of bruising and all this stuff. The coroner looked at him and said, there's nothing there. His limbs are not broken. There's no bruising. There's no signs of struggle or anything like that. There's no evidence to conclude that this was anything other than what it looks like. And instead of them listening to that, they just went, whatever. Well, we already said it was a lynching, so, but it could happen.
Keep in mind that all the people, the police chief that investigated it and the coroner, they're all black.
Yep.
They're all black people. There's no conspiracy to cover up a lynching. I'm pretty sure if there was an actual lynching,
it would be all over the
the black sheriff who investigated it and the black coroner would say, we have absolute evidence that this happened. They wouldn't try to cover it up. But that's that's a convenient fact people like to leave out.
But if you only get your information from TikTok clips, you don't actually follow through with anything, you don't do any research, because it took me all of 5 minutes to look it up and find out that the coroner had already looked at it, said something about it. And there were college professors on Twitter saying that this was a modern day lynching. People with hundreds of thousands of followers screaming this out, that black people needed to be living in fear of the world around them, and fear mongering and stuff. And then it's not proven right. And then this young girl has moved her morality compass into a place where she would openly mock and celebrate someone's death because they're a Nazi, because she believes modern day lynchings are happening, and that he would have been okay with it, when none of those things are true, and none of anything that she set her moral compass to has any actual evidence or weight to it. So you have a bunch of people walking around getting radicalized with no actual belief system. And as we've proven and been shown before, people that don't actually have a belief system are susceptible to being to give it into anything.
Yep.
100%.
Anything at all. And
it's just dangerous. Sorry, you're right. It's dangerous how far they've come.
Absolutely. And the logical conclusion for a lot of these people that they don't actually want to talk about or think about is you round up everybody that doesn't agree with your position, you round up anybody that doesn't agree with your ideology or your political affiliation, and you put them somewhere where they can no longer be effective, or you put them in the ground so that they can't talk about it anymore, because that's the kind of rhetoric that you're pushing, is that you're equating human beings in America with the right to free speech that are not talking about things, but are, even if they say something controversial about what you think, you're equating them to people that committed some of the most horrendous evil acts in the world. People that did something so evil that there was never a war crime, or there was never a war crime investigated by the Americans that went over there because it was so bad over there. They said however they need to process this while they're there is how they process it. We have people that can't even talk about what they saw over there, and you're shitting on their memory.
Yeah,
And shitting on what they did for us. Yeah.
That's why I keep talking about Charlie Kirk, and I keep learning about him more every day because I do believe that if you believe in freedom, you believe in America. I believe we all are Charlie Kirk right now, and I want to continue that. Not as it's nothing for the algorithm. Actually, it's hurt me on YouTube for the last few weeks, funny enough. But I just believe in it. Just listening to these students is heartbreaking. It's not heartbreaking is a good word. It's not one or two. I mean, they're like, yeah, and I'm like, come on. Number one, it was a white guy who killed him. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to me to connect the two. Anyway, it's crazy.
Sad, man.
So I look at the James Gunn, I look at the NFL, I look at Netflix, and you can see how the culture war is still being fought on multiple fronts. I mean, Gunn basically was telling his audience, your world is no different than a Nazi world. It's like, come on.
It's like, what are you doing, James? Like, you have no idea what you're saying. And it just undercuts any heroics in that universe. If that's how regular people in that universe feel, if that's how the daughter of Amanda Waller, who should have actually a better worldview than just about anybody else because she can see behind the curtain because of her own mother, that's how she feels, that should tell you exactly what James Gunn is crafting in the world he's crafting. That's how
he doesn't
sees
expect you to
things.
think that deeply about it, and that's the bigger issue. You know, he
That's
wanted
a
to
good
make
point.
his single point that he thinks that, our world, really the real world, is just like Nazi world. That's the point James Gunn was trying to make when he dropped that line. And again, it's stupid on so many different levels. But to your point, Mike, it kind of hurts his own universe. The writing is just not there, in my opinion, when it comes to the DCU right now. So he's got a lot of work to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off.
No, I don't know. But does that also at the same time, as we wrap this up now, does that also at the same time say Superman then is ineffective, or he's approving of the Nazis in this world?
I mean, you could absolutely make that. You can make that leap, right?
For both.
I mean,
you absolutely can make that argument or make that leap yourself. Absolutely.
Well, considering that the big twist in there is that his parents sit in there to essentially conquer the entire planet and make a harem of women that he could breed, to make more.
Harem, I still can't get over that.
Yeah.
That has
But
to be
you
the
start to-
dumbest shit I ever heard.
But you start to see a through line of James Gunn's thinking about everything in the world and his worldview and how twisted it can be. And then what is the next property we're getting? Supergirl, a girl who's like already addicted to drugs and alcohol, and if people think that this is going to build something amazing or build something that makes us reminds us of the comic book of yesteryear, you got another thing coming, pal. Because he's not going for that.
I can't tell you how much I miss Affleck as Batman, the few scenes that he was in. I mean, I didn't really like a lot of the Snyder universe. I did like most of Man of Steel, just not everything, but there are moments in it that I could see what it could have been, and I really missed that.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to read these, then we're out of here. Fletcher, if you can, please bring them up. Kelechi Oke for $2. For your information, the Civil Rights Act does not protect communists. Good. I'm happy that it doesn't. I can't stand commies, and I can't say what we used to say when I was growing up about commies. There used to be a bumper sticker that you could see in Texas. Like, what was it? Nope, can't say that one either. I'll think of a better way to say it. Thank you, Kelechi. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Kelechi Oke for another $2. And because Meek's here, Lurker Tax, he forces viewers. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It used to be, can I say that one? Fuck, there were so many great bumper stickers when I was growing up. It's like, I'm going to have to find a way to translate it. For Garuk for $5. What happened to the alt halftime shows? Yeah, well, Celeb Deathmatch, Puppy Bowl, Lingerie Bowl. I still remember the great commercials. They're like, what's up? Remember that big?
Oh, yeah.
That was
yeah.
They're fun. They had fun. They weren't trying to program you.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Gru. We're going to find out. Oh, that was the news. If y'all can find out while we're finishing these up, there's supposed to be a story out 6 hours ago that Coca-Cola is supposed to have told the NFL if they don't drop Bad Bunny, they're pulling all sponsorship, even though they're not the number one sponsors of the Super Bowl. Pull their money. I've seen it 4 times. I found 2 articles on it, but they were from like something called the Mint and the Hindustan Time. I was like, this would be big news. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll keep looking and see. I haven't seen anything more about it, but I'll keep looking at it.
Because if that's true, that would be big. Gurus provide dollars no matter what you think of her. Lady Gaga put on a hell of a halftime show a few years ago. I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to go look it up. It's just hard for me, especially after I started digging into Marina Abramovich, that Lady Gaga went a full Marina. I mean,
she's kind of a mess. She did a good halftime. I mean, she put on a hard, she worked hard. But none of those shows are ever going to touch the ones that we talked about before.
No. And what's funny is there was I don't know who mentioned it this week, but because it's going to be at Levi Stadium in California, it's I think 10 blocks away from Metallica, where they were born or where they live. People were like, why not just host them or do something that unites the country?
Yes. Yep.
You know, whatever it is, bring acts on. But you had Jelly Roll, who I never heard of till this week. Jelly Roll, J-Lo joined Shakira and William Dafoe and others to welcome Bad Bunny to the drag show on the 50-yard line. All righty. Now, this has been incredible. Before we wrap up here, I want you to know that we're going to send a raid of Slayer Nation over to Mr. Brown's Alliance. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Y'all are incredible. Love you as always. Going to be back now that we're wrapping up everything with the house. So I haven't put out a video in 3.5 weeks. A new series is going to be starting, and I'll be back going full time. Till then, Mike, bless you, my friend, for showing up. I hope you can join us next week when Warren is back.
Appreciate you having me, man. Always a good time to hang out with you. You know how it is, always busy, but when my schedule frees up, I definitely want to make time for it. So
I appreciate it. Anything you want to share with everyone?
Tomorrow, I got the Monday Hangover over on Drunk 3PO's channel, so go check that out. We're reviewing Arachnophobia, all horror movies this month.
Cool.
And then later that night, I'll be doing another Spooktober stream. Been playing through Dead Space, and yes, if we hit the goal on that stream, I will be wearing another Barney costume. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go check it on Twitter. I don't want to talk about it. So.
That was fun.
It was wild, man.
I love the Barney costume, man. It's awesome.
That stuff was wild, bro. I was like, nobody's gonna invite me on their show ever again now. But yeah,
you just might have to bring the Barney costume.
Yeah, man.
It's sitting right there. It's like the Goblin Mask. It's always talking to me.
Oh, damn.
Put it on again. Coward. I'm like, oh, wow. No, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Always. What you got coming up, DA, you want to share?
DA's office tonight, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll probably jump on Film Threat versus tomorrow. And then, of course, the nightcap Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. Come hang out. It's always a pleasure, George. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Wow, somebody sent me this. Hold on, we got to share it. It's Epic Mike.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is this for real? No, it can't. It's
real. I'm sure it's real, man.
Is it me saying, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Tree Bear. Yeah. I've worn 2 of those 3 costumes on my stream.
What? Got to go for the trifecta now.
Yeah, that is beautiful. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Aaron, Man of War, Sergeant Garana, Ron is right. Please thank our incredible mods, Lord Thoth, Eric K, Istaphobos, and our amazing producer, Fletcher Williams. And remember, decisions are made by those who show up to the fight.
Yes.
We never back down. You never bend the knee. You just keep charging. Always forward. Love you. Have a blessed week.